Mm. Yes. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is currently 12:07 and today's date is the 1st of November. Ooh, wee. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. I am back here. I told you guys I will be back on the live stream. As usual, I keep my words. And I always gonna keep my words. I tend to always keep my word, okay? So happy new month. Happy new month. Happy new month. Happy new month. To get my accent right. Happy new month. Okay. Happy new month. It is November 1st. Whoa. How do you feel? The year is almost over. The year is almost over. Wow. Just like that. We are at the end of 2024. But of course, the year wouldn't come to an end without knowing who the next president of the United States will be. Are you ready? Are you ready for the next president of the United States? I am I am 100% ready to see who the next president of the United States will be. All right, let me put the polls up. Let's see. Yes, let me put the polls up. Polls are coming up right now. Boom. All right, just put the polls up. All right, all right, all right. Don't forget, double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. I am back like I never left. You know what time it is. And today we're going to start with the former president, the OG, the 45th, who some people say might also be the 47th. Donald J. Trump held a campaign event in Albuquerque, New Mexico. All right. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for that? Also, let me know, did you vote? Did you start your voting process? Have you voted today, or did you vote yesterday, or did you vote early, or are you voting on election day? Let me know. Let me know. Did you mail your vote did you mail in your votes yet? Just let me know. Let me know. Let me know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, let's go straight into the live stream. Don't forget to double tap your screen. Don't forget to like the live show. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let's go.
Thank you. Wow. That's a lot of people here today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, New Mexico. What a good place. Thank you very much. Look, I'm only here for one reason. They all said, don't come. I said, why? You can't win New Mexico. I said, look, your votes are rigged. We can win New Mexico. We can win New Mexico. I said, why? They don't want to stop the people pouring across the border that are murderers, they're killers, they're drug addicts, they're drug dealers, they're gang members. Why? New Mexico wants to keep it going like it is. So, we almost won it twice. And let me tell you, I believe we won it twice. Okay, you want to know the truth. And if you can watch your vote counter, if we could bring God down from heaven, he could be the vote counter, we would win this, we'd win California, we'd win a lot of states. A lot of states that they say, oh, a Republican can't win that state. They say a Republican can't win. Well, you know what? We're going to win it. We got to win it. You just got to keep the votes honest. Keep the votes honest. But a very big hello. It is really an honor to be in New Mexico. I have so many friends. I've been here before, as you know, but we have so many friends, and I'm thrilled to be in this beautiful state with thousands of very proud, hardworking American patriots, which is what you are. And I'd like to begin by asking a very, very simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? You know, we had per gallon $1.84. We used to say 87. I was corrected by the people in Washington. Can you believe it? $1.84 a gallon. And now you're at $3.50, $4. And let me tell you, after the election, if things didn't go the way they're expected to go, you'd be at $6, $7, $9, $10. But I've come here today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote in this election, I will end inflation. I will stop the massive invasion of criminals into your state. And I will bring back the American dream. We're going to bring back the American dream. It's hard to have an American dream when radical, crazy killers and just horrible, horrible murders. You know, you had coming through your border. Do you know how many you had? 13,099. That's Border Patrol, who endorsed me, by the way, very strongly. And you know what they said about her? She's the worst person they've ever seen having anything to do with the border. She's terrible. You cannot elect her. That's Border Patrol. That's Border Patrol. Do you know that in 4 years, almost 4 years, she never called Border Patrol once, and yet she was in charge of the border? That's not too good. That's not. She's a stiff. She's a total stiff, and she lies. She had a news conference today. Trump wants to, let's see, what can we say? Oh, he's going to cut Social Security. No, I'm not. I'm the one that saved it. He's going to save Social Security. She's going to lose it. And he's against he's against fertilization. He's against fertilization. She just says anything that comes to her mind. She's a liar. She's worse than Crooked Hillary. At least Hillary was intelligent. She was a very intelligent one. This one is a total stiff. You can't have her as your president. You know, she talks about unity. Oh, unity, unity. Oh, yeah, unity. By the way, he's like Hitler. He reminds me of Hitler. He's a fascist. She's talking about we're going to have unity, and then she calls me a fascist in the next sentence. This is the worst unifier. And, you know, Biden was bad, but you know who was a really bad unifier? Barack Hussein Obama. He was a horrible unifier. Horrible. He was a horrible unifier. And not a very good person. Not a very good person. Now, here's the guy, though. The man whose election was ripped away from him like you take candy from a baby. Okay? Crooked Joe Biden. What's better, Sleepy Joe or Crooked Joe? Sometimes I feel like it's Sleepy. Well, now, I don't know. Well, he's gotten him in so much trouble when he called you garbage. Hey, you're not garbage. You're not garbage. This is a hell of a big crowd. Look at that. Goes. I wish the fake news. I wish the fake news would show this crowd. I wish they'd turn the cameras over there as far as the eye can see. Over there. Not one camera's turning. Not one camera. They never turn the cameras. They never want to show the real crowd size. You know, Kamala should never be running right now. She doesn't deserve it. She came in last. She got no votes. Whether you like him or not, I'm not a big fan. But we had a debate. His numbers went down. It can happen. But they took it away from him. You don't take it away. He got 14 million votes in the Democrat Party. And then, oh, that sounds like a nice F-35. You know how many of them I bought? I bought a lot of them. Personally, I like the F-22 the best, by the way. But I think the F-22 is the most beautiful fighter jet ever made. But let's get back into the subject. That's the weave. Let's get back to the subject. You always end up in the right. You have to always end up in the right place. But Crooked Joe Biden, they stole the election from him. They went in, they said, crazy Nancy Pelosi, who, by the way, She had a big stake in Visa, and she sold it 2 weeks ago. The following day, it was announced that Visa is under major investigation. Nancy Pelosi sold her Visa stock 1 day before it was announced that they were under investigation. And the fake news doesn't want to report the story. The fake news won't report the story. No. But there's one big difference between crooked Hillary and Kamala. You know what it is? Hillary was far more intelligent than I guess. But Hillary didn't lie as much. Hillary was a liar and a scoundrel and a horrible human being, but she didn't lie as much as Kamala. Kamala will get up and say, Trump doesn't want to frack. He will never frack. No, I frack and I drill, baby, drill. I want to drill, baby, drill. She'll get up and say, haven't you heard? Donald Trump will not drill, baby, drill. He will not drill, baby, drill. No. Fortunately, most people are intelligent and they get it. And we're leading big in the polls, all the polls. This is all you need to know. Kamala broke it, and I will fix it, and I'll fix it very quickly. And with your support, New Mexico, look, don't make me waste a whole damn half a day here, okay? Look, I came here, we can be nice to each other, or we can talk turkey. Let's talk turkey, okay? First of all, Hispanics love Trump. They do. True. I like them. They're smart. They're a lot smarter than the person running for president on the Democrat side. You could say a lot smarter than Biden, too, I can tell you. They're smart. They're entrepreneurial as hell. They're great entrepreneurs, actually. Great small business owners and big business owners, too. But they're great. They work their asses off. That's right. They don't want to get anything for nothing. They want it. They just want a fair, nice, level playing table, and that's what's going to happen. But you know what? No, but did you hear? I'm at the highest point of any Republican in history. Now we're going to, okay, that's one step. Now I'm going to make it of any Democrat also, because I treat you much better than the Democrats. The Democrats, they're destroying your country. They're destroying your country. So I'm here for one simple reason. I like you very much, and it's good for my credentials with the Hispanic or Latino community. You know, on the East Coast, they like being called Hispanics. You know this? On the West Coast, they like being called Latinos. So, poll, give me a free poll. I don't have to spend $300,000. First is going to be Latinos, next is Hispanics, right? Which do you prefer? Latinos. Uh-oh. Let me give it one more shot. Latinos. Hispanics. I can't believe it. I had an argument on the plane back there. Where is it? Oh, there it is. I had a little argument on the plane. They said, sir, please use the term Latino when you're in New Mexico, I said. And I said, I've always heard Hispanic, and then at some point there is a little area, but I feel more comfortable. Sir, really, you'll be very insulting. I take a poll, and it's 97% I was right. A free poll. As I was saying, I love the Hispanics. I love them. I love Hispanics, and they're hard workers, and boy, are they entrepreneurial, and they're great people, and they are warm. They are warm. Sometimes they're too warm, you want to know the truth. They are warm people. But you have to turn out the record numbers that we need in order to really demand a better future, and you have to go out, you have to vote. We want to win. We want to take care of the great state of New Mexico. We're going to defeat Kamala Harris, the worst vice president. And we're going to make America great again. We're going to make America great again, and you're going to go back. And, you know, this group, I think this group is so large that if you all went right after this, who's voted? Oh. Okay, who is going to vote? That's good. Well, the people that have voted, if you voted against me, shame on you. I'm only going to focus on the people that haven't voted. I'm holding it against you. I should have done this trip about a week earlier, by the way. It's all right. These are minor mistakes. No, it's good to be with you. I don't give a damn. But those people that haven't voted, which is about 40%, get out and vote for Trump, and we're going to have a big victory. I just want to be proven right. You know, I like to say I'm never wrong because it's good. Remember the hat, the great hat? Trump was never wrong about anything, and it's true. And that's sad because I've made some very bad predictions with her in office. You'll end up in depressions. You'll end up in third world wars. You'll end up, if anything ever happened, it would be horrible. If she got in, it would be horrible for the future of this country because she's grossly incompetent. She's more incompetent than Biden, and I didn't think I could say that about anybody. Do you think she's happy with him? I don't think so. Do you think she feels good about the language that he's been using lately, like calling us all garbage? Can you imagine the phone calls? What the hell are you doing, Joe? Please, Joe. I'm trying, Joe. I'm at a big disadvantage. You know, they say I'm not smart, no, and then you go and you make it more difficult for me, Joe. What are you doing, Joe? Well, that's the way I feel, because that is the way it feels, probably. But you know who really, I won't use that term on him, but you know who the person is that we don't have too much respect for, right? I mean, you see what we have, and they're destroying our country, and they're ruining your state. They're letting millions of people come into your state. They're ruining your state. And get out there and vote. One of the biggest reasons we will win this state is that you have among the worst border problems of any state in America. And I am the only one that knows how to fix it. I already did fix it. 4 years ago, you didn't have a problem. 4 years ago, you didn't have a problem. Under Kamala, New Mexico has seen millions of people pour across your section of the southern border, including 10,000 convicted criminals and thousands of illegal alien gang members. Congratulations, you now have those gang members in your presence. Yeah, you have a lot of rough hombres, don't you? You have a lot of rough. They're tough hombres. Kamala has imported criminal migrants from prisons and jails, insane asylums, and mental institutions. They're emptying out their mental institutions and their prisons and jails from all over the world, and they're coming into the United States of America. We're like a dumping ground. It's a horrible thing. They come from Venezuela, they come from the Congo, and they're stealing countless American lives. In Las Cruces, Mexico, an illegal alien criminal who was arrested but released from jail. You heard about this. You know about this. It's a big story all over, but especially here. On unsecured bond was charged. Unsecured bond. What is an unsecured bond? The hell are they doing, an unsecured bond? What does that mean? What is it? A bond is supposed to be secured. Was charged with decapitating a man, mutilating his body, and kicking his head around like a soccer ball in the public park. The victim's head was found 30 feet from his body. He had been stabbed multiple times, and his middle finger had been removed. I guess that was a sign of something. Today, I want to have you hear direct. By the way, that person is not being charged like he should be charged. Okay? But today I want you to take a look at something that just came about 2 days ago. We made a tape, which I'm going to show you, and it's a tape of a great mother who I got to know a little bit at one of the rallies, and I heard the story, and she said, I'd love to do this, and it's very sad. Everybody that's seen it, literally they end up tough men have ended up crying pretty profusely by watching this. So please take a look.
Sunday night, I asked her to not stay up super late because of her coming to work with me in the morning to do her summer school. She said, okay. I told her good night and I love you. I went to bed, not realizing that that was going to be the last time I saw her.
We're best friends.
Yeah. I'm gonna go shake it again.
I woke up to notice she wasn't in her bed. I'm in my heart trying not to lose my mind because I don't know where she is. I finally remembered her phone had a location on, and her phone was pinging just 2 minutes down the road, right behind the skate park. I start driving to the direction the phone was being pinged at, and I see a couple cop cars with lights on. I see yellow tape, and immediately my heart drops and sinks to the bottom of my stomach. My daughter's hands and ankles were both bound. She was strangled to death, left with no pants. And I know in my heart, she fought incredibly hard. She was not going down without a fight.
We begin with two men we're learning are charged with capital murder tonight, accused of killing a 12-year-old girl.
Police say these men strangled her before dumping her into that creek. Both men were in the country illegally.
Apprehended, then released by Border Patrol less than 3 weeks before Jocelyn's death. The men accused of killing Jocelyn Nungare are affiliated with the gang known for brutal violence.
Kamala Harris was in charge of immigration in our borders. If we had better border policies and not open borders and not these catch and release policies, I truly believe this all could have been prevented. Under her being vice president of this country, my daughter's life was ripped away from her. She had her entire life ahead of her.
Happy birthday, dear Jocelyn.
My daughter is 6 feet in the ground based off of policies that she allowed to keep. Kamala Harris did have one job, and she not only failed, not me, she failed my daughter. She failed Jocelyn. You know, she was only 12. President Trump reached out, gave me his sincerest condolences as not a former president, but just as a father, someone who cares. I believe Donald Trump needs to be back in office. I can at least know that my next child will be safe in this country.
So devastating, right? Thank you very much. There are hundreds and even thousands of cases like that, and it's people coming into this country that are horrible people. They're horrible people. I don't like saying that, but they're horrible people. And they come in totally unvetted, totally unchecked through this ridiculous open border policy that she and the radical left have. And the only reason they can want it, I guess two reasons. They think they're going to sign people up to vote, or they're just grossly incompetent, which they are. Maybe it's both. But it's vicious. It's vicious that they do it. People are being killed every single day by illegal migrants coming into this country. These are rough people. These are people that have been in jails and prisons. And again, 13,000 plus murderers have been released into our country, some with the death penalty already stipulated against them. The day I take the oath of office, the migrant invasion ends and the restoration of our country begins. And the savages charged with brutalizing and murdering precious Jocelyn are members of the same vicious Venezuelan prison gang, Tren de Aragua, the most vicious gang they say in the world, although I would say MS-13 is right there with them. We took out thousands of MS-13 killers. When I was president, we took them out by the thousands. Before me, they didn't take them out because the countries wouldn't take them back. With me, I said to the countries, you're not going to take them back, right? You're not going to take them back? No more aid for that country. They said, sir, we'd love to take them back. We'd love to take them back. We took them out by the thousands. 2 young girls walking down a street in Long Island. For some reason, MS-13 likes Long Island. We took them out again by the hundreds and hundreds out of Long Island. We saved Long Island. But 2 girls walking down the street, going to school, 16 years old each, 16 beautiful, perfect, young girls. And they were hit by MS-13 and sliced up with a knife. They didn't want to use a gun because it's too quick. And they sliced them up and killed them, sliced them up into pieces. And those animals are paying a big price right now because of ICE. ICE went in and did a number on them. But we've got to get smart in this country. We've got to get smart. They're taking over apartment complexes. They're unleashing a violent killing spree all across America. In Aurora, Colorado, you've been reading about it. It's terrible. Yes, doctor, please. Doctor in the house, please. Please, take your time, doctor. Thank you. Medic, doctor. Thank you. Are they okay? Thank you, doctor. Take your time, doctor. We always have good doctors. That's one thing. We got a lot of doctors here. A lot of doctors, a lot of doctor support. Thank you. You've been waiting here a long time. Thank you. Thank you, doctor. Go ahead. You okay, doctor? You okay? Doing well? You tell us. Looks like you're doing okay. Thank you. Thank you. How about playing a song while the doctor finishes up? Do you want to do that? How about God Bless America? God Bless America? Go ahead, put it on. If my people can move quickly, put it on. Good. You can sing, and you can sing with this great voice that you're about to hear, if you'd like. Go ahead.
Thank you for tuning into the live stream. I guess they're about to play a song, but we're gonna just fast forward it a little bit. I think it's back here.
They got it a little
All right, he's back.
wrong, but that's good. You can
Double
never
tap
go
your screen,
wrong with
subscribe to
Lee
the channel. Let's
Greenwood.
get
That
it.
I can tell you. He's great. So thank you. And Doctor, I think you're okay over there? Yes? Everyone good? Let's go. Let's go. So that was very sad, and there are so many sad stories for no reason whatsoever. Open borders. I call them the open borders stupid policies. These are for stupid people. And we want people to come into our country, but we want them to come in legally. We want them to love our country and to love the people of our country, and we'll do that. But they can't just walk in from prisons and from all sorts of places. Do you know the crime rates are down in many places, in many cities outside of this country? Because it's all over the world. They're coming in from the Congo. They're coming in from... Crime rates are down in Venezuela by 70%, 72%, because they're taking their criminals and depositing their criminals in the United States of America. Thank you very much. And the United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. We are an occupied country. When you see what's going on in Colorado, and I think Colorado's going to vote big for Trump, too. They were the ones. The governor over there, he's a weak, ineffective, radical left lunatic. He doesn't know what to do because in Aurora, they're taking over the whole place. But you know what he tried to do? He wanted to get me off the ballot, and the people of Colorado were not happy about it, including Democrats. And we won 9-0 in the Supreme Court. That's what we had to do because of Colorado. And Colorado said, we're going to vote for Trump. That was their form of rebellion. So I hope you do that. I hope you vote for Trump. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. I will rescue every city and town that has been invaded and conquered, and we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail or kick them the hell out of our country and fast. To expedite removal of the Tren de Aragua and other savage gangs, I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of, listen to this, 1798. That's an old one. You have to go back that far because as we've grown and grown, our politics and politicians have become weaker and weaker. Our laws don't mean anything. It's so bad what's happening to our country, and we're becoming a very unsafe country. But we're going to be a lot more unsafe when you realize that all of the criminals from every country in the world is being deposited right into our nation, and we're not going to take it. But we're using the Alien Enemies Act. Think of that. 1798, boy, that's a long time ago, to target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil, and it gives tremendous authority to everybody to straighten out our country. We've got to have a country. We've got to have borders. We've got to have fair elections. We've got to have a free press. Look how many people are back there. They're just so many bad. They're so fake. So many of them, they're fake. They're fake. And if these monsters come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or law enforcement officer. And I will immediately ban all sanctuary cities in the United States. We're ending sanctuary cities, which is sanctuary for criminals. As we secure our border, we will bring back our economy, and very simply, I will make America affordable again. It's not affordable. Because these lunatics that we have running our government, they've allowed inflation to rise to a level that we've never seen before, and it's not affordable. They've come down, the prices came down, and now they're going shooting back up again. It's terrible. We've got to get those costs down, and I'm going to get them down. You know how I'm going to get them down? We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill, baby, drill, bring energy down. And we're going to get interest rates down, too. They were at 2% with me, and now they're at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14%, and you can't get the money even if you want to pay it. Kamala Harris cast the deciding votes that launched the worst inflation in our country's history. She cost a typical American family over $30,000 in higher prices. Think of that, $30,000. And now Kamala, a disaster who shouldn't be allowed to run. She has no right to be running. You know what? You know the expression, right? They're a threat to democracy. That's what they are. They are the threat to democracy. Kamala wants to raise the typical family's taxes by nearly $3,000 a year.
Yes.
And I'm announcing today a new step
that
I'll
to buy
take
some
to
steak
get emergency
in
price
2025
relief to all
for real.
Americans. On day one, I will sign an executive order directing every federal agency to immediately remove every single burdensome regulation driving up the cost of goods. They drive up the cost of goods. We have so many regulations that hurt our country. I cut more regulations times 4 than any president in the history of our country. And that's why we had the greatest economy in history. That's one of the reasons why. The other is I gave you the largest tax cut in the history of our country, including Ronald Reagan.
Thank you for tuning into the live stream. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. You guys are the best. Karen Smith. Karen Smith says, explain how drilling will bring down the price of groceries in details. Well, let me enlighten you a little bit. Trucks takes the groceries to the grocery stores like Walmart. That's why you see Walmart's 18-wheelers on the road, right? You see Kroger's 18-wheelers on the road. You see Food Lion's 18-wheelers on the road. You see Publix 18-wheelers on the road. You have to put diesel in the trucks to take the groceries to the grocery stores. If your diesel is high, that will be put on your grocery bills. The farmers need diesel to transport their crops, the produce. Don't you think that is going to affect prices? That is just common sense. Like, you know what I mean? Just like you get an apartment, you rent an apartment, you get bills for, if you have a pool, it's a different bill. If you have a gym in your apartment complex, it's a different bill. So all of those things are add-ons to your bills. You know what I mean? Like, fuel affect food prices. I mean, it's just common sense. I mean, I'm just letting you know.
Reagan. Furthermore, I will create a new cabinet position for a senior member of my administration who will be tasked exclusively with doing everything in the federal government's power to reduce the cost of living. We have to. You not be able to live. And a lot of it is just the regulations and the rules and regulations, which are just a waste of time and money. And everybody, we need regulation, but I have seen regulations where they have 30 regulations for one subject, and the one subject doesn't even matter. All agencies will be judged daily on their progress in slashing the cost of household items. We're going to slash the cost, and this will be the largest and fastest, most aggressive regulatory reduction. It's going to be the largest regulatory reduction in the history of our country, and it's going to happen very fast. Using just very conservative estimates, we will save the typical household $7,000 in the first year alone. With no impact to your life, no impact at all, just a waste of money. Uh-oh. Osprey. The Osprey. Pretty amazing, right? Pretty amazing. They've had some difficulty, but pretty amazing. We will end the inflation nightmare immediately and create a record jobs boom, the likes of which you've never seen before. And we had a record. Think of it, 4 years ago, we were energy independent. And during my administration, we had the most successful economy, the greatest economy in the history of our country. the history of our country. And we had the best job numbers in the history of our country. African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, men, women, people with a degree, young people with a degree in the best schools, young people without a degree at all. Every single group had the best. There wasn't one group that wasn't at the all-time top. We had the most successful administration, and we rebuilt the military. We did so many. We defeated ISIS. We did a lot. I will massively cut taxes for workers and small businesses, and we will also have no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits to your seniors. This liar got up today. She said, Donald Trump is going to cut Social Security. No. She knows I'm not. She's going to destroy Social Security, but I'll never cut it. And I'm never raising the age either. She'll have no choice but to. But what I will cut is the tax on Social Security. So she's a little confused. No, she is a liar. And I'll also support a tax credit for family caregivers who take care of their parents or a loved one, a husband, a wife, and they deserve it. You know, without them, you wouldn't have enough hospitals in this country if you doubled them up. You have unbelievable people, angel moms. You have unbelievable people that do a great job, and they're entitled to that. On behalf of the great people of New Mexico, I will end Kamala's war on American energy. You're not going to have any energy. You know, they talk about Pennsylvania, no fracking. If you don't have energy, they're going to take it away. They want to go all electric, everything all electric. Oh, that's going to be wonderful. They want, even in the military, they want all electric army tanks. There's only one problem, they don't work. But they will be environmentally friendly as you blast your way into various enemy cities, right? We'll do it we will blast our way through into a city in an environmentally friendly way. You know what happens? The battery is so big and so heavy that you will have to carry it in like a wagon on the back, okay? They'll be pulling a battery along in a wagon, and the battery's so heavy, they don't even know if the tank is going to have the power to do it. The whole thing is crazy. It doesn't go far. It doesn't have the right torque. These are minor details. The whole tank is so heavy that if it goes over a bridge, you're going to have to rebuild all the bridges. Same thing with the trucks. They want to make all trucks, all electric. The problem is they weigh 2.5 times more because of the battery. They don't go far enough. And because of the weight, by the way, it would mean we would have to build and rebuild. Every bridge in the United States of America has to be rebuilt to handle the weight of all electric trucks. I said to the head of the trucker, one guy has 28,000 trucks. I said, that's a lot. He's been buying them for his whole life. He said, I've been buying trucks for 50 years, sir, and every year they got better, bigger, stronger, more beautiful. We build those apartments on the back of that trailer right now, sir. You'd be proud to live in one of them. I said, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. Maybe I would. I probably would. They're beautiful. You see it. But every year, he said, for 50 years, they've gotten more efficient. They've gotten better. And now they want us to go all electric. And we'd be going back 50 years and much more. 50 years ago, a truck was better than the best electric truck today. So I said, did you explain that to the authorities as they burst into your office to demand that you go all electric? He said, I explained it. What they say, we don't give a damn. We want you to go all electric. This is what we're dealing with. It's like Gestapo stuff, okay? They use that term. It's like Gestapo stuff. What they're doing to our country is unbelievable. And you talk about a supply chain. I said, how many stops would you have to make for electric? 6 to Los Angeles, New York to Los Angeles. 6 stops, sir, and we have no chargers. I said, that's a problem, too. Do you know they built 8 charging stations? You know what a charging station is? The same thing as a pump with gasoline, except electric is there. It comes, you put it in, right? Do you hear this story? $9 billion they've spent for 8 charging stations in the Midwest. So you're about ready to run out of electric, and they say, sir, if you go 300 miles to the north There's a charging station up there. It would cost us to do the necessary charging stations. It would cost us, they say, about $10 trillion. That's like $10 trillion to do the necessary. And you know what? I'm not against electric. I think they're incredible. I think they have a purpose. I think Tesla's great. I think Elon, I mean, he endorsed me, gave me the best. I think they have a great purpose. But you can't go all electric. You want gasoline-powered cars. You want hybrids. You want a lot of different things. New things are emerging, but you can't have that. But they want all electric within a very short period of time. Also, they're going to all be made in China. You know that. We have gasoline. We have all the gasoline you could ever. They have, and it's clean too. They have what's necessary for batteries, China. So why are we playing into their hands like this? Because we're run by stupid fools. Stupid fools. If Kamala is reelected, New Mexico's economy will be reduced to rubble. You're not going to be drilling oil. There's no more drilling. There's no more oil. You can forget it. We want to go off. You know, Germany tried it for about 9 months. That's the end of that one. She was gone right after that. They tried it. They almost lost their country. And they went back to it. Now they're building a coal plant a week. I mean, they've gone from one extreme to the other. But Germany tried it. China's building a coal plant a week. Kerry goes to meet with President Xi. He says, I'd like you to go environmentally friendly. Okay, we'll do that. Get out of here. Go back. Tell them we're going to do it. In the meantime, they keep doing whatever the hell they want to do. And all that air, by the way, comes over our country in 3.5 days. So we're out there, nice clean air, but the air from China blows over our country every 3.5 to 4 days. And when they dump their garbage into the ocean, it floats on by in the Pacific. It floats on by Los Angeles. It's a lovely sight to see. We end up picking up their garbage, right? Because we allow that to happen. We won't allow that to happen. We're not going to allow that to happen. You know, China, when I was president, paid us hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs. When all of the other people, I won't use names, but when China never paid them 10 cents. They didn't pay us 10 cents. I got hundreds of billions of dollars, and they were fine. I had a good relationship with them. I had a great relationship with President Xi until the China virus hit our shores, in which case that was a bridge too far. But we did a great job on that. Never got the credit for that. We got a credit for the economy, for the military, rebuilt the entire military. Got great credit for not having started wars. Right to try. How about right to try? How good was that, right? Right to try. Kamala has vowed to ban fracking. She will destroy over 90,000 oil and gas jobs in New Mexico. They'll put your state will go back to a level of poverty. New Mexico is going to go back to a level of poverty. Going to wipe out 35% of your state's budget. On day one, I will end Kamala's devastating national gas export ban. Do you believe we have a ban? A lot of people don't know that. I will immediately terminate the Green New Scam. That will be such an honor. The greatest scam in the history of any country. I will cancel her insane electric vehicle mandate. It'll be ended on day one. We'll end that one. And I'll cut your energy prices in half within 12 months from entering office. January 20th, we enter office. Within 12 months, all of your energy bills, your car, your air conditioning, your heating, everything will be 50%, 50. Despite all of the damage she's caused, Kamala has spent the final week of her failing campaign comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. That's what she's doing to me. 2 days ago, Joe Biden called our supporters garbage. You're garbage. He said they're garbage. He called you garbage. He called all of us garbage. We're garbage. I remember the word deplorable. Do you remember the word deplorable? How did that work out, Hillary? Not too good. But they mean it, even though without question my supporters are of far higher quality and I think much smarter than Crooked Joe or Lying Kamala. My response to Joe and Kamala is simple. You can't lead America if you don't love America. You can't do it. You can't be president if you hate the American people, and I think they hate the American people. I'll bet you we're 250 million people we're talking about. I'll bet we're 250 million people. Remember, it's called Make America Great Again. Who's against that? Remember Joe? Remember Joe before he gave up and quit? He quit like a little loser. He quit. I will hand over my presidency. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I will hand over my presidency. No, he quit. He won, and then he walked into his office. You can't win. So she's not going to win either, by the way. That's the beauty. This can only happen to me. I'm the one. I have to fight two people, not one. I have to go. Everyone else they can beat once. So we spent $150 million beating this guy. I never even mentioned her name. Nobody even knew who the hell she was, except she was incompetent. So we fight, and we're beating him. We have the debate. We did well. He didn't do too good. And then his numbers are down. They go in. They take away his presidency. They literally took away his presidency. And now they say it's like going to Dana White. You know Dana White, UFC. And he sees the fight going on, and the one guy's getting beaten badly. They say, let's take him out and put somebody else in. You don't do that stuff. But they did it. Not a democracy. You don't do that. And, she was last out of the 13 people. She was last. They started off with 22, actually. She was last. She was the first one to be defeated. She got wrecked. She got killed. She was the first one. She never made it to the great state of Iowa. We love Iowa, too. Never made it to Iowa. She never made it. She was defeated before she was the first one out of 22 people to quit. And she becomes the person I have to run against, right? Just not, I don't care. I think I'm probably happier. They have much more capable people than her. But you know what? What they did was wrong. They went in and they told somebody, you're getting out. We're taking over. And they actually took over the presidency of the United States. Think about it. Kamala Harris is not fit to be president of the United States. She doesn't have the intellect, the stamina, or that special quality that real leaders must have to lead. Brett Favre yesterday in Wisconsin, he's great. He endorsed me. Never did that before. He endorsed me, gave me a strong endorsement. And I was thinking about her. I'm talking about her, and there's Brett Favre sitting there with her hands. He has got hands. I never saw it. He's got fingers like sausages. That's why he could fling that ball 80 yards down the field. And I'm saying, how do you even compare? You're talking about him. He was a leader, the won Super Bowl, and had some of the best quarterback stats ever. But great. I mean, it was such an honor. And I'm thinking about here's a guy who was a leader. He was a leader on the field. He'd be screaming at his guys. They'd weigh 100 pounds more than him. Although I tell you, he's a big guy. I was surprised. He's tall, but he is a strong sucker. And he comes out. And I'm looking at him and I'm talking about her in terms of leadership. And I say, can you imagine we're even having them in the same room? It's so ridiculous. Joe Biden's comments were the direct result of Kamala's decision to portray everyone who isn't voting for her, which is a hell of a lot of people, as evil and subhuman. Can you believe that? Evil. And we're evil and subhuman. And we know it's what they believe because look at how they've treated you. They've treated you like garbage. Look on the border. Look at New Mexico. You have the worst problem probably in the whole country. They're flowing in like you're a federal highway. They're flowing into your state at levels that nobody else has to see. For the past 9 years, Kamala and her party have called us racist, bigots, fascists, deplorables, irredeemables, Nazis. And they called me Hitler. I'm Hitler. That's what they say. They've bullied you. They've demeaned you. They've demonized us. They've censored us, deplatformed us, and weaponized the power of our government against their political opponent, me. I've had more investigations than Alphonse Capone. Alphonse Capone would kill a person just by looking. If he didn't like the person, even tough guys like these guys over here, if Alphonse didn't like you, you were gone. And I've had more investigations than Scarface. That's Alphonse Capone. My father would be looking down. He said, how the hell did that happen to my son, my boy, my beautiful boy? How did that happen? How did that happen? I'm pretty sure he'd be looking down. I know my mother would be looking down. My father. He'd be looking down. He was a tough guy, but he was a good guy. He had a big, beautiful heart. They've taken away your money, thrown open your borders to criminals and terrorists, flooded your towns with deadly drugs and death, given your jobs to illegal migrants, and sent our blood and treasure to fight stupid foreign wars in countries that you've never heard of. This Tuesday is your chance to stand up and declare that you're not going to take it anymore.
Thank you for tuning in to the live show. Let's get the likes up. Double tap your screen, like the live stream, subscribe to the channel. You know what just came to me right now? Remember when the 45th was taken off social media? In America, bro? Man, how the hell did that happen? How did that happen in America? You take the 45th off of social media, bro? Hell no. Yeah, he's gonna win.
What we've built is the biggest, broadest, most incredible coalition and the greatest political movement in American history. There's never been a movement like this, not even close. We've brought together veterans and union members, soldiers and steelworkers, farmers and auto workers, and patriotic moms and dads of every race, religion, color, and creed. We're welcoming historic numbers of African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, and Arab Americans. Let me tell you, when the numbers come out, you're going to see the worst African American numbers that we've ever seen, because these people that are pouring into our country are taking African American jobs at levels that nobody's ever seen. And they're trying to keep, I know the numbers, they're trying to keep the numbers quiet until after the election. They have 5 more days, but they want to keep them quiet. They should release them right now. African Americans, and to a lesser extent, but a lot, Hispanic Americans are losing their jobs to people that are illegally coming into our country. And we ought to demand it. I demand it of the fake news, but they're useless. These guys are useless. They don't even talk about it. And they know it. And they know it. They know what the numbers are, too. They're taking African American jobs at a level that nobody can even comprehend. And it's damn unfair. These are American citizens. It's damn unfair. We're uniting Christians and Jews, Catholics and evangelicals, Muslims and Mormons, and everyone who simply wants to do one thing. What do they want to do? Make America great again. That's all they want to do. Our campaign has been endorsed by 400,000 members. Think of this, 400,000 members of the Fraternal Order of Police, by the Border Patrol agents, unanimously, think of it, unanimously, and the strongest endorsement you've ever heard, by the rank and file membership of the Teamsters. That's something no Republican ever had, 62%. They have a great head of the Teamsters, so I will say, Sean O'Brien, he's a great leader of the Teamsters, I will say that. By Elon Musk, a great one. When I watched that rocket come in last week, I said, any guy can do that. I want that endorsement, right? He gave me the... You know where he is right now? He's in Pennsylvania, and what he's doing is campaigning for me because he said it's the most important single decision in American history because we're going to lose our country. We have the endorsement of somebody who's terrific, not easy. He's been, the family's been slightly Democrat for a long time, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. RFK Jr. He's going to help us on health and the health of women, and men, and children, and he is so good and so into it, and you'll see he's going to do a great job. I may keep him away from the liquid gold. I told him, listen, I love you. I think you're great. But stay away from my liquid gold. We're going to make a lot of money with that. We're going to pay off debt. We're going to lower taxes. We have Tulsi Gabbard, a highly respected person who just turned Republican. And the great astronaut Buzz Aldrin, who never endorsed, just yesterday, never endorsed He never endorsed anybody in his life, and he endorsed a guy named Donald Trump. Kamala and Joe, call them. All of them also, they're in your group now. She calls them garbage, and he calls them garbage. Oh, you can imagine their conversations. But I call you the heart and soul of America. I call you the people that built our country. You're the people that built our country. We're especially excited to have the support of record numbers of Hispanic Americans and Latinos. And right here in New Mexico, we're going to win a record share of the Hispanic American vote. We're going to win. We're going to get tremendous. So if I did nothing else, at least the Hispanics are going to say we love this guy, because I've set so many records. You know, we won Miami. We did things like win Miami. We won the entire border along Texas, which is mostly Hispanic. It's 80%, 85%. The governor of Texas, a good guy, Governor Abbott, called. He said, sir, you won the entire border running along Texas, between Texas and Mexico. I said, so why are you surprised? He said, it never happened before. Hispanics want great jobs, rising wages, and safe communities. You don't want vicious gang members getting dumped into your state. And you don't want Kamala teaching your children that they can change their gender anytime they want. And many Hispanics are also Catholics, and Kamala is persecuting Catholics. What's with Catholics? Any Catholic that votes for her should immediately have your head examined. They are persecuting Catholics. And remember this, evangelicals are next, okay? It's very simple. We're with you. What they're doing is unbelievable. They're persecuting Catholics. So, we have a lot of Catholics. Who's Catholic here? Who's Catholic? A lot. That's a lot. We're trying to turn that movement that the government has. We're going to turn it down. We're going to turn that thing down and off. And my first day in office, there'll be no more persecutions of Catholics or anybody else. Kamala even suggested that being Catholic disqualifies you from running for office. She's about 75 years out of date. Didn't they have that with Kennedy? They had that with a lot of people. A lot of Catholics were persecuted they couldn't run for office. And now she's going to start that whole thing up again. The woman is a disaster. And she, ready? I shouldn't say this about an opponent, but I have to. Because you know what? We can't take a chance on her. She's dumb as a rock. She's dumb as a rock. Did you see where her teleprompter went off last week? Two weeks ago, she's like, 32. And now the teleprompter freezes. Happens all the time. I have my good teleprompter guy back there. He's excellent, but every once in a while, no matter how good they are, this sucker breaks down. But I haven't been using it too much today, to be honest. Hey, isn't it nice? I always say, isn't it nice to have a president that doesn't need a teleprompter? Right? But her teleprompter broke down 3 weeks ago. And 32 days, she meant 32 days are left in the campaign. 32. Oh, 32. Did you see this? 32. 32. Oh, and I'm saying, oh, man, I was watching. I said, she's lost it. 32. And then, boom, it kicked back. You know, sometimes it doesn't. If you're going to be a politician, you have to know they have backup. See this? This is a backup. But, you know, if you have to use that backup, you're in big trouble because, it broke. Now you got to find the page. It's not good. You're just better off just wing it, do whatever the hell you have to do. This is backup. All I have to do is figure out what the hell page it's on, you know, little things like that. No, if you're a politician, if you want to run for office, I have a friend, he wanted to, a very smart guy, very successful guy, made a lot of money and all. He saw what I'd done. He wants to run for the Senate. And I say, well, do you have any problems, anything? Back, no, I have one problem, though. I have, like, this terrible phobia. I'm afraid to speak in front of people. I said, let me give you a little suggestion. Don't waste your time. You got it. Can you imagine that? He had a problem, little phobia about speaking in front of people. That would not be good. So he was actually hoping for small groups instead of large groups. Hey, do we have large groups? Oh, look at this group. If the fake news would show it, it would be so. They never show it. And you know, we do the videos a little bit for the great crowds, because when we have a good crowd like in New Mexico, that stuff is expensive to put up, right? But when we have a good crowd, we put it up. They never show it. A friend of mine on television loves to watch the rallies. He says, but the one problem is whenever they go for a clip, you saw a clip just now. It was a sad clip. Jocelyn, it was a sad clip. But you saw that. All that camera, see those cameras? They're right at me. All they have to do is go 1 inch to the right and 1 inch up, and they've got it. They say they never play the videos. I didn't know that until he said that. That's terrible. So it's blank. You know what they do? They show me standing here for 2 minutes, right? No, it's very unfortunate. And they don't do that because they don't want the public to really see the facts. It's so easy to do. 1 inch to the right or left and 1 inch up, and they won't do it. And I shame them, and I shame them also about crowd size. I say, show the crowds. How about her? She couldn't get a crowd the other night. She got Beyonce. Beyonce walked out, said something, walked back, didn't sing a song, and they booed both of them the hell out of the area. No, she can only get a crowd if she gets some person to sing. I don't have to sing. I don't have a guitar. If I had a guitar, would I do even better? We'd have even bigger crowds, right? We'd have even bigger crowds. Kamala Harris is a low IQ individual. She's running a campaign of hate, anger, and retribution. She's now talking about what she's going to do on the border, but why didn't she do it before? 4 years almost. Or what she's going to do about inflation. She's talking about, I'm going to do this and that. She doesn't know what she's talking about, by the way. You have a depression of 1929. She said what she's going to do about inflation, but why didn't she do it before? It's almost 4 years. Or what she's going to do to help the economy. But then I ask, why the hell didn't you do it before? She and Crooked Joe head up the worst administration in the history of our country. They've made one man, he's getting up there in age, just celebrated his 100th birthday, but they've made him a very happy man because compared to them, his administration looks absolutely brilliant. Jimmy Carter. And in all fairness to Jimmy, he didn't let 21 million people pour into our country, many of them criminals and mentally ill people that should be in hospitals. He didn't do that. 2 nights ago, Kamala made a speech with a paid-for audience. You can always tell when the buses pull up and they're all the same. Actually, it's a good-looking bus company. I think I'm going to use it sometime. But we don't need buses, do we? No, the buses, they get these people from someplace, they pay them, and they send them in. Oh, she got a wonderful crowd today. And then you see the people there. She's making a speech. They're all looking at their phone, blah, 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 calling their girlfriend, calling their boyfriend. But all she talked about was Donald Trump.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I will speak about Donald Trump. Donald Trump, 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 Trump.
That's all she talked about. And that's it. That was exact. Although I got that from a fake news network, so you never know. No, that's all she talked about is Donald Trump. Let's talk about the economy. Donald Trump, this woman she suffers from a major case of Trump derangement syndrome. But many Democrats do, and that's because we're winning. We're winning by a lot. Everything Kamala says is a lie. She says that I want to take away Medicare and Social Security. That's a lie. You know that because for 4 years I just made it stronger. She says I want to end Obamacare and take away your health care. That's a lie. It's a lie. If we come up with something better, that'll be great. And everybody wants that because Obamacare sort of sucks. It's too expensive for the people. She talks about Project 2025, which I have absolutely nothing to do with. She says, I know that because of Project. Well, we've denied that. I have no idea what Project 2025 is. I've never read it, and I never will. But they make it sound like it's from me. She says, I want to ban IVF, a total outrageous lie. In fact, I'm going to require insurance companies to pay for IVF. And that was long, and many other things. I'm going to protect your Medicare, your Social Security. We're never ending it. She said we're in it. She never heard me say it. If she ever heard me, let her prove it. She gets up and lies. He's going to end Social Security. No, the nice thing is we can fight back because we have a voice, so we can fight back. We can tell you what's true and what's not true. But Kamala's open borders catastrophe, this is what's going to kill your Social Security. Her open borders will kill Social Security, Medicare, and frankly, will kill our country as a whole. It's going to kill us. According to a recent study, Kamala's plan, giving free health care for illegals, will rob Medicare of over $2 trillion. It will never recover, and I will never let it happen. The reason Kamala's campaign has been reduced, this desperate, pathetic stream of hoaxes and lies, is very simple. She's a liar. The entire world can see. She's a total train wreck. And by the way, I looked at her this morning. She had a little news conference. It lasted for like 2 minutes. She's exhausted. You know? She's exhausted. She's a train wreck who is totally unqualified to be the President of the United States of America. There are some people who thrive under pressure, and there are some people who crack under pressure. She's a cracker. And the more pressure Kamala has, the more you see it happening. No, she's cracking. She's a bad person, because anybody that lies like that, knowing that it's a lie, just put it out. Just have to tell you, because you have to understand it. When you see it, at least this way you know it. You know, a lot of people say, sir, don't go down in the gutter with her. I said, well, how will people know she's lying if I don't say the truth, right? Am I right? She says it. But being a candidate is nothing compared to the pressure of being president itself, because I've done both. If she can't handle going on The View, where she made a horrible mistake, you know the mistake she made. She can't think of anything she'd do different from Biden. That should cost her 75% of the votes, and the 25 that vote for her, they're not the smartest people in the world. She can't think of anything she'd do essentially different from crooked Joe Biden. Do you know that 325,000 young children were killed or are sex slaves or slaves right now who came through this horrible open border? Think of what that means. Many, many stadiums full of the biggest stadium in many stadiums. 325,000 children are right now dead, never to be seen by their parents again, or sex slaves or slaves. And they're missing, and they'll probably be never seen again. This is not a charity event. This is an election for the biggest and toughest job in history. This is no tougher job than being president. And we get hit from the enemy inside. You know that, right? We get hit by the Adam Schiffs of the world. He's scum, total scum. They made up Russia hoax. They made up all the impeachment hoaxes. They make it up. They're bad people. There's no participation trophy for incompetent candidates. Do you want to lose your life savings because we put a weak and foolish person in the White House? You'll lose it real quick. You'll lose your country. But do you want to lose your job or maybe your house or pension because Kamala has the economic understanding of a child? Did you ever hear her speak? They ask her a question on economic footing, and she's like a child. She says, well, I was born on a house with grass in the front of the house. I was born on a house with grass. She uses that answer all the time. And how about 60 Minutes? 60 Minutes, they interview me all the time. But they go at me, oh, they want to get me, with her. all softballs. And she gives one answer that was so incompetent that you'd have her examined under Article 25, actually. She'd be gone. But it was so bad. What do they do? CBS, they're licensed by the United States government because of fairness. 60 Minutes, right? What did they do? They took her answer. It was a long, horrible answer. I don't like the word salad term, but that's what it was. It was a word, just words all over the place. They didn't mean anything. They took it out in its entirety. It didn't leave one word, and replaced it with an answer that she gave in another section of the interview. Nobody's ever seen. I think it's this is really interference with an election, fraudulent interference with an election. It's never, I can't imagine, and I think they probably did it with a lot of others. They refused to give us the documents. So you know what? If you want me to, I will sue them. Should I? Because they are among the most, see the media? They're among the most dishonest people that we have. They're the biggest, I think they're maybe the biggest problem that the country has. They lie and they cheat. So 60 Minutes, a news magazine, part of the news organization, they took the answer out and replaced it with a different answer. The presidency is a job held by Teddy Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Dwight Eisenhower, FDR, you could name them. This is a job that has to be held by somebody with a high level of intelligence. Would you trust Kamala Harris to talk to Russia or China and talk about keeping us out of war? I don't think so. Would you trust her to steer us out of an economic crisis? I don't think so. But nothing is more dangerous than to give immense power to a weak and not very smart person, just not a smart person. We need smart. In fact, I call for it, but I would love to have it. We should have cognitive tests for anybody that runs for president and vice president. Oh, how about that guy she picked for vice president? What a loser. What a loser that one is. I mean, that guy, could you imagine? Well, she picked somebody so bad that there is a certain rule. Make them really bad and they'll never take you out, right? But you wouldn't put Kamala Harris in charge of a kindergarten class. She wouldn't be in charge of a kindergarten class. So at the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, can you afford to put someone this incompetent in charge of our country's future? The answer is no. And she shouldn't be there. She got no votes. She shouldn't be there. On top of it all, Kamala says she would not do one thing differently from Joe Biden. Think of that. And he's the worst president in our history. By definition, what she said is disqualifying. Take a look.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
A fifth illegal immigrant accused of attacking 2 New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition. US inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
Authorities saying Train de Aragua, which has been linked with more than 100 criminal investigations here in the U.S., has now been found operating its criminal enterprise in apartment complexes.
Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
So if you want to end this disaster that's going on all around us, you must get out and vote. You got to get out and vote. So we're thrilled to be joined by a lot of great people, a lot of real patriots. One of them is Mark Wayne Mullen, the senator from Oklahoma. And where's Mark Wayne? Where is Mark Wayne? Do you want to come up? Look, he's standing there. I think he wants to come up, but fast, Mark Wayne. He's a great athlete. He's a great wrestler, a great champion. He's a great champion. He is a great champion.
Guys, I am so proud to be here with my president, our fighter, right? The fighter that's going to fight back against this overreaching Democrat Party that's trying to literally go after all of our freedoms. This guy, I know a little bit about fighting, and when I see a fighter like this, he's a guy that makes me proud, a guy that's going to fight for not only us, but our children, and the children coming after that. Our fighter, the country fighter, the people's fighter, the one that's going to bring down inflation, the one that's going to bring down energy costs, the one that's going to bring back our economy, the one that's going to secure our border. The man that showed great leadership and courage during an assassination attempt. The man that stood up and shook his fist and said, "Fight, fight, fight." Our fighter, my friend, President Donald J. Trump, is going to get our country back on track. God bless you all for being here.
Thank you. Great guy, highly respected gentleman. So I'd like to just ask a couple of people to stand up. Candidate for Senate, where's Nella? Where is Nella? Where is Nella? Where are you? Where are you? Oh, congratulations. I hear you're doing very well, Nella. Go out and vote, Nella. Thank you, darling. Great. Great. Yeah, I heard you're doing great. You really should. She's fantastic. Congress is always looking for good people, and we have somebody that is great. Where's Yvette? Good, Yvette. Thank you, Yvette. A very special guy and a friend of mine, and he knows we did great the last time. Boy, did we do good. That's the one thing we have to watch, and he knows it better than anybody. Steve Pierce. Steve, thank you. Head of the Republican Party. He's the chairman of the Republican Party. Former New Mexico Governor Susana Martinez. Thank you. Former Vice President of the Navajo Nation, Myron Lizer. Myron Lizer. Thank you. Thank you, Myron. And a great developer from New York and Florida, all over the country, a friend of mine, one who's very generous. Anytime there's a problem with hurricanes or tornadoes or anything, he's always there and always helping and writing big checks. Mr. Steve Witkoff, he's here someplace. Steve, thank you very much. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. So here are the facts, just in closing. Kamala is a radical left Marxist, rated even worse than crazy Bernie Sanders and Pocahontas herself. She destroyed our economy. She was an original creator of Defund the Police, a movement that's so horrible that anybody even thinking about it is not qualified to be president. Kamala vowed to abolish ICE. These are great heroes. These are people that love our country. And they're tough and they're strong, and they got thousands of MS-13 gang members out of here. Nobody else would do it. As California Attorney General, Kamala redefined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as totally nonviolent crimes. She pledged to confiscate your guns. Would anybody like to give up your gun? And wants a total ban on handgun ownership. She even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention at taxpayer expense. And what else did she do? She lied about working at McDonald's, right? So with your vote this November, we're going to fire Kamala, and we're going to save America. We will cut taxes, end inflation, slash your prices. We're going to get those prices down. Raise your wages and bring thousands of factories back to America and back to New Mexico. We're going to bring them back. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American. I will end the war in Ukraine, which would have never happened if I were president. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East. I will prevent World War III from happening. We've never been so close. We will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect that they so dearly deserve. We will strengthen and modernize our military. We will build a missile defense shield over our country, all made in the USA, and a lot of it made in New Mexico. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe and clean and beautiful again. We will teach our children to love our country, honor our history, and always respect our great American flag. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our school. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will defend religious liberty, I will restore free speech, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms. After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build our country, our nation. We're going to make our nation bigger and better and stronger again. And we will finally protect our citizens the way they're supposed to be protected. We're going to protect our citizens. And we will stop illegal immigration once and for all. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be overrun. We will not be conquered. We will be a free and proud nation once again. Everyone will prosper. Every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope, and filled with something you don't hear much of anymore, filled with the American dream. We're going to bring back the American dream for your children. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda with a landslide that is too big to rig. You need to get out and vote, New Mexico. For the past 9 years, we have been fighting against the most sinister and corrupt forces on earth. With your vote in this election, you can show them once and for all that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. It belongs to you. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country. And 5 days from now, it is hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help from now until Election Day, 5 days, we will restore America's promise. We will take back the nation that we love. We love our nation so much. We hate to see what's happened to it in the last 4 years. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down. We will never, ever surrender. Together, we will fight, 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 and we will win, win, win. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. We are in a failing nation. We are in a nation in decline. We will not be in a nation in decline for long. It's going to end very soon. We're going to have a thriving, magnificent nation again, more so than it ever has been. We're going to do things that nobody believed, and we're going to have safety in our nation again. We're going to have great safety in our nation. Together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, New Mexico.
Thank you for tuning in to the live show. Double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up. Subscribe to the channel. Nathan said he speaks like a dictator. Are you not listening? It's like, do you just hate this man so much that you don't even listen to what he's saying? He's saying everybody's going to be wealthy. The prices are going to be affordable. Like, are you not? Don't you want to be wealthy? Don't you want to be safe? Are you not listening to what he's saying? You don't even listen. You just. Man. All right, so of course, you know the OG, the legendary 45th, who most people believe might be the 47th, always does 2 to 4 events every day. You know that. I don't have to tell you all that because you know he is a hardworking person. All right, he was also in Nevada today. This was in New Mexico. The next one was, he was in, yeah. So from New Mexico, he went to Nevada. I guess he might have done something in between because this man works all goddamn day. All right, let's listen to his rally in Nevada. Let's get it.
We're all working hard. We got to win. We can't let that alternative win. That would be a disaster for our country. So I want to just say a very big hello, Nevada. We're doing great in Nevada. And I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hard-working American patriots, and you are that. You are that. But I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question, very easy one. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I've come today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote in this election, I will end inflation. I will stop the massive criminal, and you see it, the criminal invasion. Some horrible, deathly people. We're not going to allow it. They're destroying our country. We will stop it immediately. And I will bring back something that you haven't heard of for about 4 years. We're going to bring back the American dream, and I want to just thank you. You're going to bring it back. And that's all you really need to know. And remember, Kamala and Sleepy Joe, they broke it. I will fix it, and we'll fix it fast. And we're going to have America that's bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before. And, you know, we're doing fantastically well in the polls. And I want to thank a man who's with us. And I said, Joe, you got to go because he's got some big stuff going on, and we got to win this thing. He's heard my speeches before a little bit. But you have a great governor here, Joe Lombardo. And where is Joe? Where is Joe? Thank you, Joe. Is it okay? Can he go and do some business so that we can win and he can take care of some young people that are incredible and love him? Joe, thank you very much. You go home, Joe. Thank you. Appreciate it. Great job. Joe Lombardo, everybody. Thank you. He's a good man. This election is a choice between whether we'll have 4 more years of gross incompetence and failure or whether we'll begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. We're going to bring it back. We're going to bring it back fast. And I'm asking you to be excited about the future of our country. That's not an easy thing to do when you see these clowns, these horrible, horrible people we have, running our country. I'm asking you to dream big again. Dream big again. This will be America's new golden age. That's what we're going to do, a golden age of America. Every problem facing us can be solved, but now the fate of our nation is in your hands. This is a very big state for us. This is a very big state. I love it. I'm here a lot without campaigning, but I want to tell you this is a big one, and it looks awfully good. It looks, I don't want to say, just keep voting, keep voting. You got to get out and vote. On Tuesday, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala that you've had enough. You can't take it anymore. She's horrible, the worst there is. There's never been anybody worse on the border. She's the worst. She is the worst vice president in the history of our country. Kamala, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. You're fired. The worst. Horrible. Horrible. She is horrible. And she lies. Every time she gets up, she tells a lie. Donald Trump will not allow fracking. That's a first, by the way. I won't allow. Donald Trump will not allow drilling for oil, which is going to make us rich as hell. No, he doesn't. No, she lies about everything. IVF, she lies. I feel like I'm the father of IVF. She lies about everything. She's worse than crooked Hillary, actually. You know, Hillary was a lot smarter, and she lied a lot, but this one lies about everything. She just makes it up as you go. We've been setting records in early voting, as you probably know. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. But we can't let up. In-person early voting in your state ends tomorrow, so get out and vote. But the main thing is you gotta vote. You gotta get that. Tuesday is a very special day. It's a big day, and we can close this thing out. We're leading for the first time, I think, ever, right? We're leading in early voting for the first time ever. That's right. Never happened because, as you know, Democrats always lead in the early part, and the Republicans like to go there on Tuesday, and I understand that you want to see your ballot go into a box. I'm not even sure you see that with this craziness that we have, but we're going to get it all changed. But we're doing really well, and to be leading in early voting is unprecedented, so that's really great. So it's an honor. And if you can't make it tomorrow, you got to make a plan. You got to be there on Tuesday, everybody. Who has not voted? Whoa. Whoa. Who has voted? Great. That is great. Wow. Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you. Look at that. Oh, I'd like to know what casino you work for, huh? Look at that. That's great. So those that haven't, get out and vote. Every vote counts. Thank you very much. With your help, we're going to win Nevada. We're going to defeat Kamala Harris. Kamala. And we're going to, what are we going to do? We're going to make America great again, right? Over the past 4 years, Kamala has orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has ever inflicted upon our people. She's violated her oath, eradicated our sovereign border, and unleashed an army of gangs and criminal migrants from prisons and jails, insane asylums and mental institutions, from all around the world, from Venezuela to the Congo. Today, I want to hear directly from a mother whose world has been absolutely shattered. This just came out, and everybody that sees it it's like devastating. And there's so many things happening like this with the illegal migrants, so many killers. We're not going to let it go on. Please watch.
Sunday night, I asked her to not stay up super late because of her coming to work with me in the morning first to do her summer school. She said, okay. I told her good night and I love you. I went to bed, not realizing that that was going to be the last time I saw her.
We're best friends.
Yeah. We're going to shake it again.
I woke up to notice she wasn't in her bed. I'm in my heart trying not to lose my mind because I don't know where she is. I finally remembered her phone had a location on, and her phone was pinging just 2 minutes down the road, right behind the skate park. I start driving to the direction the phone was being pinged at, and I see a couple cop cars with lights on. I see yellow tape, and immediately my heart drops and sinks to the bottom of my stomach. My daughter's hands and ankles were both bound. She was strangled to death, left with no pants. And I know in my heart, she fought incredibly hard. She was not going down without a fight.
We begin with two men we're learning are charged with capital murder tonight, accused of killing a 12-year-old girl.
Police say these men strangled her before dumping her into that creek. Both men were in the country illegally.
Apprehended, then released by Border Patrol less than 3 weeks before Jocelyn's death. The men accused of killing Jocelyn Nungare are affiliated with the gang known for brutal violence.
Kamala Harris was in charge of immigration in our borders. If we had better border policies and not open borders and not these catch and release policies, I truly believe this all could have been prevented. Under her being vice president of this country, my daughter's life was ripped away from her. She had her entire life ahead of her.
Happy birthday, dear Jocelyn.
My daughter is 6 feet in the ground based off of policies that she allowed to keep. Kamala Harris did have one job, and she not only failed, not me, she failed my daughter. She failed Jocelyn. You know, she was only 12. President Trump reached out, gave me his sincerest condolences as not a former president, but just as a father, someone who cares. I believe Donald Trump needs to be back in office. I can at least know that my next child will be safe in this country.
Thank you very much. So sad. Thousands of people all over our country. This is constant. These are some really tough people, some really bad people coming in. They make our criminals look like nice people. That's how tough they are. They are just so bad. The jails are being emptied into our country. Jails from the toughest countries are being opened up and let in through her stupid open border policies, totally unvetted. Nobody knows who they are, where they come from. Countries you've never even heard of. The day I take office, the migrant invasion ends and the restoration of our country begins. And I believe it's the biggest problem. Biden and Harris, you can't say Harris because nobody knows who Harris is. Nobody knows. You say Harris, nobody knows who the hell she is. But that's great. Thank you, darling. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. The savages charged with brutalizing and murdering Precious Jocelyn are members of the same vicious Venezuelan prison gang, Tren de Aragua. And they're taking over apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado. We have a governor who's petrified. He's a radical left lunatic, and he's petrified. He doesn't know what the hell to do. He's lost. I call him a lost sheep. And they're unleashing a violent killing spree all over America. The United States is now an occupied country. Can you believe I have to say that? We're an occupied country. They're coming in, and they're by the thousands, and they have equipment that's military-grade equipment. How do they get that? They have military-grade equipment, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. Liberation Day. On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. We're going to get them out. We have no choice. I will rescue every city and town that has been invaded and conquered. They are conquering areas of our country. They're conquering. We don't know, and nobody wants to talk about it. And the fake news, of which there is a lot back there. Whoa. It's a lot. They don't want to write about it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to. They'll write about it after the election. No, you don't want to write about it now. And we'll put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail, or we'll kick them the hell out of our country. We'll want them out. Through our open border, Kamala Harris is also actively aiding and abetting the worst human traffickers, child smugglers, drug dealers, and bloodthirsty criminal networks on the planet. There's nobody worse than what she's catering to. They even have an app number, where to call, so they can dump off illegal migrants. They have an app. Can you believe it? They have called. They have cell phones. They have airplanes flying over the border, loaded up with migrants that they're dropping all over our country. The cartel's profits have soared from relatively minor numbers to $13 billion from human trafficking alone under border czar. She doesn't want to be called border czar. She was the border czar, but you know what? She was in charge of the border. And by the way, the Border Patrol, they endorsed me very strongly. They even said I was the greatest president in the history of our country. Now, I said, does that include Abraham Lincoln? Does that include the great George Washington? They said, you're the best president, and you're the best president on the border. We had the best border. Drop that, please. Drop my all-time favorite graph. Do you mind? I love this. I sleep with this. I kiss it. I kiss it. Oh, that saved my life, I guess. Without that graph, I wouldn't be here right now. I looked over to my right very quickly, and I noticed there was a little problem. A little bit of a problem. Lunatics, we got lunatics out there. But that says it. The last day that I was in office was the arrow on the bottom. That was the lowest day in the history of our country for illegal immigration. That was done by the Border Patrol and ICE. And then it became like an Elon Musk rocket ship. Look at that. Look at what happened. That was the lowest day we've ever had in terms of illegal immigration. By the way, the drugs were equally low. The whole thing was so good. All that guy had to do is leave it. He went to the beach all the time, right? He could have gone to the beach, but he went to the beach, but they made changes. Instead, remain in Mexico. I got things that nobody could come into our country. They had to remain in Mexico. I think Tijuana might have been the fastest growing town in the history of the world. Hundreds of thousands of people, but they weren't in our country, and we want people to come in, but we want them to come in legally, right? We want people to come in, but they have to come in legally. We don't want murderers and drug dealers, and we don't want them to open their prisons. Think of it, they're opening their prisons and dumping them on us. But every day they're stealing innocent lives on both sides of the border, both sides. Just days ago, a young U.S. Marine Corps veteran named Nicholas Quetz from Arizona was driving through Mexico very routinely. Who would think this could happen? For a beach weekend with his great friends. Everybody loved him. He had a lot of friends. When he was viciously gunned down on the highway and murdered by members of a Mexican cartel. And we're joined today by Nick's wife, Carrie, his father, Douglas, his mother, Patricia, his sister, Alexis, and his brother-in-law, Phil, and they're beautiful people. And if they'd like to come up, I'd love to have them just to honor their beautiful boy. I'd love to have them. Come on up. Oh, good. That's great. This is a great family, a perfect family, and what happened to them should happen to nobody.
so unscripted. I really wasn't planning on being here. 2 weeks ago, I was a completely apolitical actor. Anybody outside my own home wouldn't have known who I would have voted for. Today, the situation changed for me. 2 weeks ago, Friday, my son was murdered by cowards, shot in the back on the way to the beach in Mexico. The reason I bring that up, and some people have questioned why was he in Mexico? He was in Mexico going to pursue his life, enjoy his life. We grew up as a military family, had been around the water. He loved it. We don't have Arizona Beach, so we call Rocky Point Arizona's beach. A lot of people go there, hundreds of thousands a year, I think, transit there. Plenty of Americans own property down there. So that happened. We got the call from the State Department, very professional. That night, no news in the United States to speak of. Sunday, still no news. Monday, still no news, other than the very most local level with no publication. Tried to get in contact with elected leaders, heard nothing. Tuesday, reached out to my local representative. He put me in contact with Senator Vance. Senator Vance coincidentally was coming to Tucson for a speech that day. I can't imagine how busy Senator Vance, President Trump are running their campaign. Senator Vance, I asked for 2 minutes to talk to him. And, I've met in my line of work, and I'm actually still a current federal employee. That's one of the reasons I've stayed apolitical. I'm a 20-year military retiree, so I've dedicated my entire life to this country and doing... My son, who was murdered, is a 4-year military veteran of the United States Marine Corps. He worked on vertical assault from the Ospreys, so he'd fast rope out of helicopters. My daughter is actually a drilling Army reservist, and my son-in-law recently medically retired due to issues sustained on active duty. So our family's a military family with generations and generations of service. I bring these things up as an apolitical actor and somebody who struggled, the kind of Americans many are, who probably sit around their table and say, who are we going to vote for, go back and forth, decide what we think is important. And we struggle on that, and we actually pray on it. And many people ask me, how can I stand up here today 13 days after my son was killed and talk in front of groups? And it is through the grace of God, and I do believe in God and a higher being. I do believe my son Nicholas has given me the power to be here, has given my wife the power to be here, has given my daughter. Karime, who is Nick's wife, and my son-in-law Philip. And Philip has done such a great job, so now I have one living son, and that is Phil, because one was stolen by the cartel. So when I met with Senator Vance, and because I am apolitical and met many leaders from up to the level of National Security Council, plenty of times working different issues for this government, I asked him a question, and I said, sir, before we talk, I need to know if I'm speaking to the candidate, the senator, or the Marine. And he said, I'm JD. I need you to tell me what I can do for you, and you tell me what you can do for me. And he meant it as a way of helping him to help me. So JD Vance was awesome. I asked for 90 seconds. He gave me 15 minutes. At the end, the very next morning, better. The very next morning, and after having tried to reach my elected officials for 5 days, President Trump's office called me. President Trump, in the fight of his life, offered to meet with us. President Trump gave me 15 minutes of his time to talk about what we could do. I asked him for some things, and he helped. I asked him, A, for U.S. involvement, and we know he's candidate Trump right now, and there isn't a seated president. I asked for U.S. involvement in the investigation with the Mexicans. I asked for extradition of the killers after I found out under the current U.S. code, Not all can be extradited, only if they're tied to RICO activities. In this case, they probably are tied to RICO activities. They are probably coming back, but I'll defer all questions on his investigation to the FBI. And I asked for a working policy in Mexico. In my career, I worked in, one of the things I worked on was Plan Colombia, very similar situation in security as to what we have in Mexico today. It was supported by Senator Biden. That's out in public record, you can look at it. We have no working policy with Mexico right now. Count the numbers of illegal immigrants, whether they're private, whether they're dangerous or not dangerous, and you'll see a number of about 25 million crossing back and forth. And then when somebody says, why was Nick in Mexico? My son was an hour from our house when he was executed by cowards. That's how close it is. But it is a national security challenge, not a local border state challenge. We have these type of things with Tren de Agua and MS-13, anybody else you want to name, plus unnamed criminal organizations. The cartels, they operate with impunity in Mexico. They've infiltrated every level of their government. The local police are helpless because they're not properly equipped. State police, a little bit better, but not, and then the federal. But we need to work with the Mexicans on this to go forward. So what I'm leaving you with, and I'll give this back to President Trump, to whom you came to listen, not me, is this. For most of us in this room, and honestly, I would not have been in this room because it wouldn't have been political 2 weeks ago, you know who you're going to vote for. But for the soundbite and the people looking at this, after 12 days, I received a phone call from Senator Mark Kelly. That was the 12th day. And he was gracious, and he offered his condolences. And I told him, sir, I appreciate that because I'm a respectful person. I'll work with anybody. But what I want is sponsorship of a couple things. One is change to U.S. code so that if people have committed crime against U.S. persons, especially murder, they are brought back here to face our justice. Number two is legislation that is enacted that takes us someplace closer to Plan Mexico, that'll institute not only military capability, but also institution building. And if we break out the numbers of what it costs, we can do that for much less than we spend on illegal immigrants. And we can make both sides of the border secure. People are coming here. Some come for economic, and we talk about that, but many of those people are actually fleeing due to the insecurity in their own country. If we can help them, we can help ourselves. Senator Kelly, and as I said, so this is bipartisan, but we need a leader who can enact it. And the leader is standing right next to me because he's promised to enact it. Bipartisan. And I will tell you, President Trump, former President Trump, however you want to name him, and I had some really good conversations. We had conversations between ourselves, two men looking at each other. The man had a tear in his eye when he saw the picture of my son, and the person that those that are on the that are not have not committed and don't know, he's a decent man. He tried to help us, and he promised to help us. He also made a promise to me that'll be between the two of us. But if he's elected, I do believe he'll keep it. Sir, I can't thank you enough. Sir, I can't thank you enough for what you've done for my family in terms of calling attention to this. It was unreported in the media. Go back and check for anybody who looks. And I will tell you, and importantly, like I said, Governor Walz was in Arizona last Saturday. He had a convention. We tried to go. We asked to go. I've got electronic proof of it so we can show pictures. They've already been released to the media. We're told it was full. It was in a high school auditorium, and we weren't allowed to speak with him. So when you wonder about where America really is and what the stories are, you don't have to wonder anymore. The man next to me and his vice presidential nominee, a current seated senator, both met with me within 36 hours of asking, and both took up the cause. And for any troll that is out there and says your son shouldn't have been in Mexico, if it's safe for 25 million people to come here, how can it not be safe for my son to go an hour south of the border? And for the trolls that say we're politicizing my son's death, I will tell you to go to the root of the word. It is the policy that contributed to my son being killed. It is the policy that's contributing to the death of other Americans, just like the video you saw that young lady. It is the policy that's contributing to fentanyl coming into the United States. Those are political failures, and we need to end them. Thank you for your time.
I'm asking you, help us get justice for Nicholas.
That's incredible. And frankly, to do that, to be able to do that, literally just a few days after this horrible event happened is pretty amazing, I'll tell you. We'll take care of it. We're going to take care of it. We're going to get that guy. We're going to get him. We're going to get him. They know who he is. Can you believe it? They know who he is. Nothing's done. Mexico's going to give him to us. Mexico's going to give him to us. They have to. They have to. It's going to be real easy. When I'm president, we're going to put the drug smugglers and human traffickers, we're going to put them right out of business. They're killing hundreds of thousands of people in our country. You know, if we had a war, it wouldn't be as bad as this. Hundreds of thousands of people a year are being killed. To expedite removals of the Tren de Aragua savage gangs, I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. And I will immediately ban all sanctuary cities in the United States of America. Sanctuaries for criminals. As we secure our border, we will bring back our economy, and very simply, I will make America affordable again, because it's not affordable anymore. They have destroyed it with this inflation, this horrible inflation, the worst ever in our country. Kamala Harris cast the deciding votes that launched the worst inflation of your lifetime. She cost the typical American family over $30,000 in higher prices. You look at your food bills, you look at the cost of food items. You know, more people tell me about groceries. The word grocery, I've heard it more in the last year than any other word, I think. I think I've heard it more than any other word, other than the word garbage. Garbage. How stupid is a man to say that, right? How stupid is a man to say that? But she believes it too. I'd love to hear that conversation now. Oh, boy. But now Kamala wants to raise taxes on the typical American family by an average of $5,000 a year. Kamala also launched a war on tip workers. Good place to talk about it. and service workers right here in Nevada, increasing the so-called tip allocation tax rate by 60%. That's why you don't hear them talking about no tax on tips. They don't talk about it because they're going just the opposite. In other words, even after Kamala wrecked your economy with inflation, she came after your tip income like a vulture would do, actually. She doesn't understand it. She doesn't know what it means. She has no sense of economics, none whatsoever. If she gets 4 more years, Kamala Harris will pick your pockets bare. We will not have a country. Everyone will flee. Our companies are going to flee. People don't realize these companies, these big, beautiful companies, they're run by international business people. They don't live here. Many of them live in Switzerland and Sweden and lots of other countries. They don't mind. They don't even think about it. They'll take these companies out of here so fast. It's a mass charge to see who can get what company. And they want to go, and they'll go. They don't care. They have no loyalty to our country. We have to keep them here by being smart, not stupid. I will massively cut taxes for workers and small businesses, and we will have no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our great seniors. And I will support a tax credit for family caregivers who take care of our parent or a loved one. You know, if we didn't have that, if we didn't have the angel moms and lots of different names, but the angel moms is an example. If we didn't have them, the great wife that takes care of a husband who is badly wounded, and vice versa, by the way. But if we didn't have that, caregivers, they really take care. We wouldn't have enough hospitals if we doubled the size of our hospital rooms. If we doubled it up, we wouldn't have enough hospitals to take care of our country. And now, of course, what's happening is you go to towns and cities all over the country, you can't have a hospital anyway because the migrants have literally taken over the beds. They've taken over the schools. They've taken over your son has a seat in school, and he no longer has it because a migrant is giving, they're giving him, actually, they're saying, you go first. The migrants go first. Migrants go first. Look at what's happening. Look at what's happening all over the country. The schools are bursting at the seams. The hospitals are a disaster. You go to the hospital, you have a problem, you can't get in. I will end Kamala's war on American energy, and we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill, baby, drill. And I'll terminate her Green New scam, one of the greatest scams in the history of our country, devised by a person who never even took an environmental course. You know who that is, right? AOC plus 3. Remember what she said, 12 years. Well, the 12 years has pretty much come up, Mr. Congressman, right? Matt, right? The 12 years has come and gone. We weren't going to be around anymore after 12 years. This is a young lady who, I don't know if she's having a lot of fun or what, but boy, I watched those senators. They were there for a long time. I watched them say, yeah, that's right, that's right. You know what her real goal is? $93 trillion. They don't want any more windows in apartments, no more windows. They'd like every building in Manhattan to be taken down and build a building with no windows in it. You have to be one of the greatest salesmen in the world to sell one of those apartments. I guess I have it wrong. I've always been known for having the biggest windows. I want those windows to be so big, right down to the bottom of the floor. And the bigger they are, the better they sell. That's just the way it is. I got to change my whole philosophy if you don't vote me in, because I'll go back to building crazy buildings now and I won't be able to use windows anymore. No, they don't want windows. They don't want cows. They don't want anything. They don't know what they want, actually. And I will cut your energy prices in half within 12 months. We're going to cut it in half. We have liquid gold. And then everything else is going to come down. It was energy that brought it up. It's going to be energy that brings it down. They screwed up that energy policy. They had it down to nothing, and then they snapped it back. They said, we're not going to win and elect the prices. Remember, they're going through crazy. Then they got it back almost to my level. But see, my level wasn't right because I would have been 4 times that level by then. And I will be 4 times or 5 times the level very soon. Despite all of the damage she's caused, Kamala has spent the final week of her campaign comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. And 2 days ago, Joe Biden called our supporters garbage. Garbage. That's nasty. I think that's worse than deplorables, right? How did that work out for Hillary? I think this is going to work out even worse. And they mean it. They mean it, even though without question my supporters are far higher quality than Crooked Joe or Lion Kamala. Far higher. Look at that. Look at that. They had nobody like that. My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. You just can't do it. Can't do it. You can't be president if you hate the American people, and they do hate it. They hate the American people. Who would have an open border policy where prisons and jails and penitentiaries are allowed to freely walk into our country, where gang members are taken off the streets of Caracas, Venezuela, and dumped into our country? We don't even know their names. We know nothing about them. They're free to roam. They call it free to roam. Congratulations, you are free to roam. And they killed 4 people, you know. It's crazy. The 13,000 plus that we have, the killers, these are murderers from jails. Can you believe that? These were all murderers, convicted murderers, in jail, in prison, and we know nothing about them. In fact, we don't even know where they are. But they're out there someplace. I'm sure we have a few of them. Welcome. I'm sure we have a few of them sitting. This can give you a little bit of the yips, right? You're sitting down now and you don't know whether or not the guy next to you killed 5 people. No, we're going to get him out of here. We're going to get him out fast. We're going to get him out fast. And our local police are going to be activated. And if we had the cooperation from the fake news, which you don't, it would happen relatively quickly. We're going to be able to do it. No, our local police, let me tell you, they know every one of them. They know their middle name. They know everything about them. They know what country they come from. They know everything. But they're told to stand back. Don't touch them. Don't do anything. Stand back. They don't want to stand back. Just like Border Patrol. They go crazy when they see these people pouring in. And they can look at them and they can see trouble. They go trouble, 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 trouble. No trouble, trouble, trouble. They can look at them and they can see good or bad. Kamala Harris is not fit to be president of the United States. She doesn't have the intellect, the stamina, or that special quality that real leaders have to have. She doesn't have any quality leadership. She shouldn't even be there. He got 14 million votes. Look, I'm not a fan. But we had a debate. He didn't do great. His numbers went down. Big deal. We wanted to see him, and they say, you can't win. You're out. This is, you know, we call him a threat to democracy. They look at me, I'm a threat to democracy. I am the least threat. I'm the one saving our democracy. No, crazy Nancy. She's crazy as a bedbug. She walked in and she starts screaming at him, you're out of here. You're out of here. Get out of here. And you know, it's amazing, her and some of her friends. And yet with Nancy, she was a big owner of Visa stock. She started off with nothing, and now she's worth $200 million, they say. But listen to this, with her husband. What was that all about anyway? That was a weird deal. What was that all about? So she's got the husband, and they buy stock. And she was a big owner in, I believe it was Visa, and big owner, big position. And we didn't know this, but Visa, it was going to be announced the following day that Visa was under major federal criminal investigation. And Nancy sold all of her stock at Visa the day before that came out. I don't know. Sounds a little bad. What do you think, Michael? A little bit shaky. She said it was by strictly coincidence. She said it was by coincidence. No. But I don't see the press. Did you guys read about that at all? I don't think so, huh? Joe Biden's comments were the direct result of Kamala's decision to portray everyone who isn't voting for her as an evil and even subhuman person. And we know it's what they believe because look at how they've treated you. They do treat you like garbage. They really do. For the last 9 years, Kamala and her party have called us racists, bigots, fascists, deplorables, irredeemables, even Nazis, and they called me Hitler. You know, my father was a great guy. He was a strong guy, but a good guy with a big heart. Strong, but really a warm guy. Whenever we walked down the street, we'd come sometimes into Manhattan. That was a big treat. And we'd see, in those days, you don't see that anymore. Now you see it at a very much higher, at a scarier level, frankly. They put a gun in your ribs and they say, give me what you have. But they used to hold tin cups out. And he'd always walk by and he'd always put $100 in it. Anytime he saw it, he'd put $100 in. You know, that was like $1,000 today, maybe more. I said, that's nice. I always remembered it. It's nice. But, you know, he told me once, I don't even know in what reference, but he said, never use the name Nazi. You don't use that name. Do you understand me? And never use the name Hitler. You don't have to say Hitler. Don't ever say Hitler. Do you understand? And now I'm being accused of being Hitler by these lunatics out there that have lost control of our country. Our country we're riddled with crime. Every city, you take a look at it, it's falling apart. They smell, they're dirty, they're criminal-ridden. You take a look at what's happened to our great cities, it's a shame. And you know a city, and I hate to say it, I hurt myself. I have property there, San Francisco. I have a lot of property in California. It hurts me. But I don't care about this. Look, to be president is a big deal. So I don't give a damn about my property, but I own big property in San Francisco. San Francisco. Now I lose another $25 million by this statement. That's one. San Francisco is almost unlivable. And it's because of her. She was the DA who destroyed San Francisco. She then became the Attorney General. And she destroyed, along with Gavin Newsom, one of the worst governors in history. She destroyed California. More people moved out last year than moved in. First time that's ever happened. I mean, they have the best weather, in all fairness. In all fairness, they have the most incredible weather. And they have the beautiful ocean. They have the beaches. They have everything. And you got to work hard to screw that up. But he's done it. He's done it. You know, they just passed a law on voter ID. Do you know that? That not only don't they have voter ID, but it's against the law for you to ask somebody for voter ID. So if you work at one of the very few places that would even have the consequence of asking, because there are no places, you know, they just mail out millions of ballots and they come mailed back in. They don't know where the hell they're going, although they have a pretty good idea. They tend to go to Democrat neighborhoods a little bit more. But they mail out like 38 million ballots, and then they get mailed back in. They shovel them with shovels into kids and bullshit. Because I'll tell you what, if I ran in California, you know, I went to California with the family of our great congressman and his wife, Ginger, who's incredible. Matt Gaetz, Mrs. Gaetz. And their family had a little event in a beautiful part of California, and nobody could believe, you couldn't even get on the streets. It looked like Lindbergh just arrived on Broadway. It was so crazy. We would do, with a fair count, we would do great in California, the right guy. Now, me, I would do great because Hispanics like me. I'm glad they love me. They should love me. And I love them. But I would do great. If we had an honest vote, I always say, if God came down just for one day to be the vote counter, in other words, I would win in California. I would. It's a disgrace what happens. Think of it. They send out millions and millions and millions of ballots. They go out, they come back. You know, it's interesting. When you go to a legitimate place, like in Florida, they've done a very good job. But I go into Palm Beach. I go in. They say, sir, I know who you are. I mean, I fully understand who you are. You're the president. But, sir, could I see your identification? Oh. And I say, you're doing the right thing. I actually say, don't be embarrassed. You know, they're very embarrassed. Sir, I mean, I don't know how to ask, but could I see it? I say, yeah, here. Oh, thank you, sir. I thought it was you. I thought, no, they feel good. And then they give you a paper, and you sign the paper, and you put on whoever you're voting for. Maybe there's a bond issue or something, and you do a check, and they're watching, and then you sign. They walk you over to essentially a container, but it could be in the form of a machine. The fewer machines you have, the better, by the way. The fewer you have. You know, Elon Musk told me he's the greatest. I would say, you got to say, in terms of computer, I would say he's probably about as good as you get. And, you know, I watched that big rocket come in 2 weeks ago. It came in, that sucker was going to crash. I said, no, don't let it crash. I tell the story. I was talking to a very important person on the phone, very important. And I'm watching the screen. It's muted. There's no sound, but I see this, seeing live. And at first I thought it might be like a space-type movie, you know, some kind of a crazy movie. But this rocket comes in and it's all burned. You know, it's coming down at 10,000 miles an hour or some crazy speed, and they're just like on fire. But now it's like the size of a 22-story building. That's pretty big, right? And it's coming in, and I'm talking to this guy, and I say, do me a favor, hold it just for a second, okay? I gotta watch this. I put the phone down, and I never picked it back up. Can you believe? And because I'm president, but more importantly, because I may be president, he held on for 45 minutes. The guy held on. You know, if I wasn't president or if I had no potential to be president, he would have hung up in the first 30 seconds. But I picked that up like 45 minutes later. I said, hello, 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 President. Very important guy. Everybody heard of him. I felt so badly, but one of those things, but I was fascinated. So I see this massive 22-story ship coming down, and you have the gantry or whatever the hell they call it nowadays, and the ship, and it's coming too fast, and I'm like, oh, no. Don't do that. I don't want to see it crash. And I didn't know it was Elon. I assumed it might be. I mean, why not? He has everything else to. But the ship is coming down, and then I see the bottom is going to hit that gantry, and then I see an explosion of fire. Pushes it like that, just perfect. The fire's all over the place. The whole thing is burning. There's smoke. I never saw anything like it. Then, boom. And then the arms come out. And just like you do with your beautiful little baby, he grabbed that sucker. And it was secure. I said, it's the most incredible thing I've ever seen. It was going to crash. The fire, everything just computer, right? It was all. I called up Elon. I said, Elon, you know, he gave us the greatest endorsement. He said it's the most important election we've ever had. Do you know where he is right now? He's campaigning in Pennsylvania. Can you believe it? With all he's got to do, because he thinks it's the most important thing he can do. But I said, Elon, was that you, the rocket? Was that you, Elon? I called him up. Hello? I said, how you doing, Elon? Okay, what's up? I said, Elon, was that you with the rocket? Yeah. I said, you're unbelievable. I said, can Russia do that? No. Why not? They don't have the knowledge, and they never will. I said, can China do that? No. I said, why not? Because I have the knowledge, and they don't. It would take them 10 years before they can do that. I said, can the U.S. do it outside of you? No. I said, that's why I like this guy. That's why I like this guy. Hello, Mr. Senator. I just see you there. The Barrasso man, he's one of the greatest people. What a great, I didn't know you were going to be here. I'm very impressed. I guess Sam Brown must be doing very well for you to be here, huh? We got the leader of the Senate. We got the leader of the Senate here. And I know it's not for me, so it has to be for Sam Brown, right? Thank you. Thank you. Senator Barrasso is an unbelievable guy, and Sam is unbelievable. And we're going to get to him in 2 seconds. And he really is. By the way, you know, I do the weave, right? You know the weave? It's genius. It's genius. I can go here, but it's always related, maybe sometimes just a little tiny bit. But I can, like here, over there. Because I look, I see them, I say, whoa, there's a senator, one of the biggest senators, and maybe the most powerful guy. Because Mitch doesn't have it anymore. No, he may be the most powerful guy in the Senate. And I'm very impressed with you, Sam. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But nobody has given up more, right? Nobody has given up more who's run for the U.S. Senate than Sam Brown. Nobody. And we should put him in office. Nobody has given up what he's given. Defending us. Defending us. And he's running against a horrible person, a radical left lunatic, but nobody's given up what that man has given up. And I say it, and he might not even like me to say it, but I say it because it's true. Nobody has given up, ever, that's ever run for the U.S. Senate. And I just hope he gets in. And he's very close. I saw a poll. You're right there, neck and neck. Great. Nice that you're there, Barrasso. That's great. But they've bullied you. They've demonized you. They've demeaned you. They've censored us. They've deplatformed us. You know, they took me. I had 280 million between Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And one day I woke up and I had nobody. Think of that. They took them all away from me. No, think of that. And I have a lot of things to say. I have a lot of good things to say. At least I think they're good. And I didn't know what the hell to do. And I went about 2 months and I had all this stuff and my mind's ready to explode because I can't tell people. And then what happens? I did what's called an most of you are too young. There's a couple of guys here that's fine. They know they've heard it. But I did what's called an old-fashioned press release. And I do a press release, and I put it out, and it got better and better. Save America. It was called Save America. And people loved it. And then I created Truth. Think of this. Truth. And it's hot as a pistol now. So think of it. Somebody said, very smart guy, a Wall Street genius. He said to me, you know, think of it. They hated you so much that they took you away from, I had like 280. I know Mark Zuckerberg said I'm number one. Number one, I think of that. He came to the White House, and he's actually been very nice to me, I must say. But he came to the White House. He said, congratulations, you're number one. But on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, then they called it Twitter. Now they call it X, but under a different regime. And it's great that Elon bought that. He's done us all a big favor because these were bad people. But so this friend of mine who's a natural business person, he viewed it differently. I said, can you imagine what they did? But think of what happened. They deplatformed me, just like I said. They took my voice away. I then came up with a press release, and the press release went crazy. It was like almost as hot, maybe just as hot. But then I said, I got to open up some kind of equipment or machinery. I got to do it like, I want to do it. So I couldn't do it then because they wouldn't even talk. They wanted my voice silenced. So I created Truth, and it's really good. It's very expensive to do that. It's expensive stuff. Between the clouds and all the other crap that I had to learn about that I wasn't interested in. I got a cloud, I got everything. But this guy said to me the other day, he said, think about it. They deplatform you. They take your voice away. They want to destroy you. So you, in a moment of weakness, develop your own source of information, and you do it at a high level, and you get great engineers, but it's still expensive, and you put it out, and then you open it up, and it's called Truth, and they said you couldn't get the name Truth because it was somebody else had to own it. And I said, check. They said, sir, you'll never get the name Truth, sir. That's a term that you will never get. I said, and you ideally need 5 letters, right? I said, wouldn't Truth be great? They said, sir, you won't get it. You won't get it. I said, check. Well, sir, I will, but sir, you're not going to get it. I said, check. And they came back, sir, it was available and we bought it for $2,000. Can you believe it? 2,000. And then it had a little burst. I don't know what the hell's going on. So here's my friend. He said, so they deplatform you, they take it all away, they try and destroy you, and you open up something. And as of yesterday, it was worth $10 billion crazy dollars. Did you see that? $10 billion, Mr. Senator. And they're going crazy. They all have Trump derangement syndrome. They're going, can you imagine how they must feel? They take it away and you open something that's worth $10 billion. It's crazy. But it's good. And by the way, use truth. It's great. It really is. It's great. They've taken your money and thrown open your borders to criminals and terrorists, flooded your towns with deadly drugs and death, and given your jobs to illegal migrants, and sent our blood and treasure to fight stupid foreign wars in places and countries that you've never even heard of. This Tuesday is your chance to stand up and declare that you're not going to take it anymore. You're not going to take it anymore. What we built is the biggest, broadest, most incredible coalition and the greatest political movement by far in American history. And by the way, I say that all the time. They've never challenged it. They can't challenge it. It's not even close. By the way, it's 100 times, 200 times greater than anything. There's never been anything like this. I always tell the story. Pat Buchanan was a great guy, conservative commentator. He came in second in New Hampshire. And he became very famous, and he had a phenomenal career because he came in second. I came in first in 50 states. Think of it. For the nomination. First in 50 states. And then we went on to win the presidency of the United States. And then we won it a second time, but I guess we're going to have to do it a third time. We're going to do it a third time. And it's going to be, if we do it together, because it's not me, it's all of us, it's us together, it's we. It'll be the greatest event in the history of politics in America. I believe that. There'll be nothing ever like it. And we're going to straighten out our country, and we're going to make America great again. It's going to be amazing. 5 days, oh, I can't wait. You know what? I've worked for 62 days in a row. I haven't taken a day off. By the way, I looked at her today. She was trying to justify the fact that they called us all garbage. And I watched her at a news conference. She's exhausted. She's finished. And about 2 weeks ago, after having worked for 50 days in a row, 2 weeks ago, she said, I canceled the show. You know why I canceled it? Because it was on NBC fake news. They said, somebody set me up. I said, I don't want to do it. And I went to another show instead. She said, he canceled the show. I did Joe Rogan for 3 hours, you know. Joe Rogan for 3 hours. She said, he canceled the show. He looks very tired. He looks very, very tired. Because I canceled the show, did another one. No, I cancel shows that are no good. NBC is no good. They're no good. ABC is no good. CBS is no good. And in fact, in honor of you, I just sued CBS today because of 60 Minutes. You know why I sued her? Because she was on, and it was called election interference fraud. Very simple. They asked her a question. She gave an answer as though she was one of the dumber people in the history of our country. Certainly the dumbest vice president, and would be beyond the dumbest president, but we're not going to let that happen. So she gave one of these, they call it a word salad, but I don't like the term. I don't like the term. No, I don't like the term. I think you're very nice, but I don't like that term. She came dressed as a word salad. Do you believe it? And he came dressed as a wall. Look. And I have no idea who she is, but she's a very pretty young lady. Okay, sit down. So she answered a question. It was a question. She gave this long, crazy... If you read the answer, you would say there's something wrong with her. So you know what 60 Minutes did? Can you imagine them doing that for me? They took it was a very long answer. You just went on and on, just words. Didn't mean anything. 60 Minutes and CBS cut it all out and they took another answer for a meaningless question, and they put it up there. Do you know that, right? They put it up there. They took it, and yeah, who she is, but she's a very pretty young lady. Okay, sit down. So she answered a question. It was a question. She gave this long, crazy... If you read the answer, you would say there's something wrong with her. So you know what 60 Minutes did? Can you imagine them doing that for me? They took it was a very long answer. You just went on and on, just words. Didn't mean anything. 60 Minutes and CBS cut it all out, and they took another answer for a meaningless question, and they put it up there. Do you know that, right? They put it up there. They took it and they put it up, and they replaced an answer that would show that she's not qualified cognitively, as I would like to say. I think she should take a cognitive test. She's not qualified. They took it out in its entirety, and they took another answer from someplace else, and they put it in. That's called election interference fraud, okay? So we sued them today, and I think CBS should lose its license, but I think ABC should lose its license also because of what they've done. We'll see. It's a hard one for them to explain. Well, let's say we have a fair judge. Well, exactly why did you do that? I mean, it's, you know, I've seen where answers are sort of juggled around. That's not good either, but a little tiny. But to take the whole thing out and to take another answer from a totally different question and a totally different part and move it in, and they got caught, and they don't want to show us any papers because they might have done it with many other answers. And that's real interference. So, no, we don't have to lock them up. They should lose their license, which is worth billions of dollars. But we brought together veterans and union members, soldiers and steel workers, farmers and auto workers, and patriotic moms and dads of every race, religion, color, and creed. We're welcoming historic numbers of African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, and Arab Americans. Did you see in Michigan how well we're doing with the Arab Americans? That's great. That's good. Because we have a real good chance. We're leading in Michigan. We're leading in Pennsylvania. We're leading all over the place. We're leading here. We're leading in Arizona by 8. A great poll just came out. We're leading by 8. We're leading all over the place. But we're uniting Christians and Jews, Catholics and evangelicals, Muslims and Mormons, and everyone who simply wants to do one thing. It's one simple thing they want to do. You know what it is? Make America great again. So our campaign has been endorsed by the 400,000 members of the Fraternal Order of Police, by the Border Patrol agents, by the rank-and-file membership of the Teamsters, and I'll tell you, headed up by a very good guy, Sean O'Brien, good guy, by Elon Musk. Well, we have so many. Yesterday, Elon, that's a great one. He feels it's so important. That guy, he's a worker, too. I'll tell you, he's working every... He's actually liking it. Gee, I hope he doesn't run for office. I don't want to run again. But no, he's really working. He's amazing. And, you know, yesterday we were in Wisconsin, in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So who is Green Bay, Wisconsin? Brett Favre, with the largest hand I've ever seen. He said, hello, sir. He shook my hand. His fingers are like a sausage. He has the biggest hands and strong guy, great guy. And he endorsed me yesterday in Wisconsin. He's never done it before. And he's great. He's a great guy. He could throw a ball 80 yards. He could rip the hand. Sometimes he threw it a little too hard. That rips the hands off the receiver. But he was great. One of the greatest. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. we have. And he's going to work on health and women's health and all of the different reasons, because we're not really a wealthy or a healthy country. We're not a wealthy country either. We owe $36 trillion, but we'll get that taken. You know what's going to take care of that? Largely? The liquid gold is going to help us with that. That's why I told Bobby, I want you to take care of health. I want you to look at the food and the food supply and what we put on the food and all sorts. You could look at, but let me handle the oil and gas, Bobby. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I want to work the liquid gold. And Buzz Aldrin endorsed this yesterday. Never done it. a great hero and an astronaut for many years. He's never endorsed anybody. This is the first time, and not a young guy. This is the first time in many years that, first time he's ever endorsed. So that was nice. Thank you, Buzz Aldrin. Kamala and Joe call them all garbage. Those people are called garbage. They're us. Everybody's us. I think 250 million people are us. And I call you the heart and soul of America. That's how you're the people that built America. But we're especially excited to have the support of record numbers of Hispanic Americans. And right here in Nevada, we're going to win a record share of the Hispanic American vote at a level that nobody's ever seen before for the party. Because, you know, basically it's pretty simple. Hispanics want great jobs. They want rising wages, and they want safe communities. They're great people. Energy, they're very entrepreneurial. I know them well. They're really hard workers. They're great people. You don't want vicious gang members getting dumped into your state, and you don't want Kamala teaching your children that they can change their gender anytime they'd like. You don't want that. She came out with gender stuff. You don't want to know about it. And I don't know what's going on with Catholics, but many Hispanics are also Catholics. And Kamala is persecuting Catholics. What the hell did Catholics do? They are being persecuted. Look, she's raising her hand. They're being persecuted. And by the way, evangelicals, Christians are, you're next. You'll be next if they win. She even suggested that being Catholic disqualifies you from being a federal judge or running for office. You believe that one? How old is that theory? That goes back a long way to Kennedy. To John Kennedy. I will defend your jobs, I will protect your children, and I will defend religion. Kamala Harris is a low IQ individual who's running a campaign of hate and anger and retribution. She's now talking about what she's going to do on the border. But why didn't she do it before? 4 years. Or she's going to do something about inflation. I'm going to do something about... She has no idea what the hell she's talking about, inflation. She doesn't even know what the word means. But I say, but why didn't you do it before? I asked this question in the debate. Why didn't she do this stuff? I'm going to do this and that. She forgets she's been there for almost 4 years. Or what she's going to do to help the economy. And I say, why didn't you do it before? Why didn't you do that before? You had 4 years almost. She and Crooked Joe head up the worst administration in the history of our country. They've made Jimmy Carter the happiest man around. It's true. And in all fairness, look, he didn't allow 21 million people to pour into our country from all parts of the world, knowing nothing about them, and they turn out to be massive numbers of criminals and terrorists at levels we've never seen before. 2 nights ago, Kamala made a speech with a paid-for audience. You know she can't get crowds. They send buses. You got to send different. You can't have all the same bus line taking everybody. I thought they did a good job, actually. I could have used them sometime, but I don't need crowds. We got plenty of crowds. But she made a speech, and all she talked about was Donald Trump.
About Donald Trump. 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 Trump.
The whole thing was about Trump. She was here for almost 4 years. They didn't do anything. The worst and a failed administration. What they did in Afghanistan, others would be prosecuted for it. And they didn't fire Milley. They didn't fire these generals that did a bad job. He's an incompetent guy, too. They have a lot of incompetent people. We defeated ISIS. Remember that? That was much tougher. We did it surgically. We did it in 4 weeks. She suffers from a very serious disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, TDS. But many Democrats do. They really do. They suffer. The press suffers from it, too. They're sick people. And you know why? You know why they do this? Because we're winning. We're all winning. Just remember that. Everything Kamala says is a lie. She says, I want to take away Medicare and Social Security. It's crazy. I would never say that. Who would say that? Because if you do say that, that's your, number one, it would be wrong. And number two, it's the end of your political career. So who would say that? I never said that. She said, he wants to immediately end Social Security. She's crazy. Hillary Clinton wouldn't lie like that. We can't stand Hillary. She's crooked as hell. She says, I want to end Obamacare, affordable health, okay? No, I never said that. I fixed it. I made it good, but it still stinks, okay? If we got something better, I would do it. If it was less expensive, it's too expensive and it's not a very good form of health care. But if we got something better, I'd do it. But I never said I'm going to end it. She said he wants to immediately end it. She talks about Project 2025 all the time. I have nothing to do with it. I've said it every way possible. I even said to a very good lawyer, am I allowed to sue them for continuously? We put it in writing. We said to... And the lawyer said, well, sir, you're running a campaign. You got a lot of liars in campaigns. You probably can't. But she says that I want to ban IVF. It's fertilization. That's a lie. You better believe it, because you've heard it. No, I'm like the father of IVF. When I heard about it, they had a bad ruling in Alabama. A judge ruled that all clinics have to be immediately closed. And I was called by Katie Britt, great senator from Alabama. And she said, you have no idea. So many women, they're going crazy. And I said, explain it. Just explain it. And after about 5 minutes, I said, well, we can't do that. That's great. That's helping us to have beautiful, healthy babies. That's okay. And I actually said, I wrote something out, and it was quite good, I must say, and it was totally supportive. And Alabama legislature the following day passed exactly what I wrote. And we are totally in favor. But she said, I want to end IVF. In fact, I want to get insurance companies to pay for the IVF if possible. We want to do it. And I'm going to protect Medicare and Social Security and your health care from Kamala's open border catastrophe. So she's the one who threatens your health care. And according to recent studies, Kamala's plan for giving free health care to illegals will destroy Medicare. It'll destroy our country. It'll cost $2 trillion. She wants to do that. She will. That's something she'll do. I will. And by the way, if you tell them, then they're going to come. And it's a tragedy. If you say you're not going to get it, then they're going to stay where they are. And it's not a tragedy. I will never let our country be destroyed. The reason Kamala's campaign has been reduced to this desperate, pathetic stream of hoaxes and lies is simple. The entire world can see she's a train wreck who is totally unqualified to be the president of the United States. She's totally unqualified. There are some people who thrive under pressure, and there are some people who crack under pressure. And the more pressure Kamala is under, the more pressure she unravels. You know, people didn't know her. She's only had a few months because she had that little honeymoon period. And remember, she was introduced, and she got on stage, and she went, thank you, 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 thank you. She's like 50 times thank you. I said, what the hell is wrong with her? But the press never picked that up. If I did that, it would be over. Remember that? When she was, right? Was that a little weird? She said like 42 times, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But being a candidate is nothing compared to the pressure of being president. I know both. If she can't handle the press conference or the television interviews, which she can't, she should do Joe Rogan. I mean, it's a really good interview. Then she can't handle the presidency. She'll get overwhelmed, melt down, and millions of people will die. This is not a charity event. This is an election for the biggest and most important job in history. There's no participation trophy for incompetent candidates. Do you want to lose your life savings because we put a weak and foolish person in the White House? That's going to happen. If that happens, it's going to happen. Do you want to lose your job or maybe your house or pension because Kamala has the economic understanding of a child? She's a child. Do you ever hear her talk about the economic situation? Oh, me. It's crazy. She shouldn't be here. The presidency is a job held by Teddy Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Dwight Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan, and people of strength and high intelligence. Would you trust Kamala to talk to Russia or China about nuclear war? But I can. We had no wars. And China paid us hundreds of billions of dollars. And Kamala, think of this, hundreds of billions of dollars. China and Russia, I ended their pipeline. They had Nord Stream 2. Nobody ever heard of it until I said, wait a minute, they're building a pipeline in Europe that's going to Germany with offshoots all over the place. They're going to build a pipeline. I terminated that pipeline. And then they said, he's been nice on Russia. Think about that, Matt. I've been nice on Russia. I terminated the biggest job they've ever even conceived of. And then they say, oh, but I do get along with Putin, and you know, that's a good thing. And I get along with President Xi, and I get along with Kim Jong-un. But they respect us. They respect us a lot. Now they laugh at us. They think we're a joke. Would you trust her to steer us out of an economic crisis? Nothing is more dangerous than to give immense power to a person with a very low IQ. You wouldn't put Kamala in charge of literally a kindergarten class. You wouldn't. So at the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, can you afford to put someone that's grossly incompetent in charge of the future of our country? I don't think so. On top of all that, Kamala says she would do nothing differently. She was asked that question. Please look.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
A fifth illegal immigrant accused of attacking 2 New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition. US inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
Authorities saying Train de Aragua, which has been linked with more than 100 criminal investigations here in the U.S., has now been found operating its criminal enterprise in apartment complexes.
Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
Nothing comes to mind. 325,000, the worst stat, 325,000 young, beautiful children went through her open border, and they've never been seen again. They're probably dead, or they're sex slaves or slaves of some kind, or captives. Remember that, 300, and the press is, I've never seen a story about it from those fakers back there. Think of that. 325,000 children. And then you remember a couple of weeks ago it came out that 818,000 fake jobs were created so that they could show how great they're doing, but they were all fake. 818,000 fake jobs, and then a whistleblower, thank you very much, whistleblower, they were going to report a change after the election. They were going to report that it was, they wouldn't say it this way, but essentially it was a fraud on our country, and I never saw them write anything about it. Think of it. 800,000 jobs plus 18,000, 818,000 jobs, almost 1 million jobs were fraudulently created, but they got caught before the election. Aren't I lucky? I mean, think what would have happened. They would have announced it a week later, and Everyone would have said, so what? These people are fraudulent. If you want to end this disaster, you must. This is a disaster. You must get out and you must vote. We're thrilled to be joined tonight by your next Senator, Sam Brown. Stand up, Sam. He is doing some job. And thank you very much, Senator Barrasso, for being here. It's a great honor to have you. It's a great honor. Great honor. He's a fantastic man, by the way. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen. Don't fight this guy either. He's a rough. Where is he? Where's Mark Wayne? What the hell happened to him? He's probably out fighting somebody. He's a hell of a fight. Thank you. Thank you, Mark Wayne. Thank you. Lieutenant Governor Stavros Anthony, thank you. Thank you, Stavros. Looking good. Thank you very much. And he's working very hard on getting out the vote and what, maybe even more importantly, the honesty of the vote. We have everything we need now. We just need a little honesty. You and the governor are doing great. Thank you very much. Congressman from Florida is a great guy. He's really great. Matt Gaetz and his wife, his beautiful wife, Ginger. Ginger, stand up. Matt and Ginger, this is a good-looking couple. This is a seriously good-looking couple, but they're a great couple. Your congressional candidate who's really looking good, Drew Johnson. Thank you, Drew. Nevada Republican Party Chairman Michael McDonald. Thank you, Michael. 5 days, Michael. 5 days. Thank you, everybody. So important that we win this state. If we win this state, it's over. It's over. A friend of mine, a great television star, he's been on for a long time. I don't even know what the hell it is, but when you're on for more than 2 seasons, you're like considered good. This guy's been on for years and years, and he's big stuff. Rick Harrison. Where's Rick? Oh, Rick. Hi, Rick. How many years, Rick? Yeah, he's been on there for a long time. Thank you, Rick. Great job. Another friend of mine, a great writer, very powerful writer. I guess we could call him conservative, to put it mildly. Wayne Allen Root. Thank you, Wayne. Great guy. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you for your support. Wayne is always supporting. I really appreciate it. We have a very similar philosophy, don't we? Huh? He's been great. And my friend Steve Witkoff, who's one of the great developers in the country. Steve Witkoff, who is always there with his checkbook to help people. He goes to North Carolina. He writes out a big check no matter where he goes. He's like a walking money pit. He's got a lot of cash. But he's a very generous guy, and he's a great, talented business person. He's great, great man. But here are the facts. Kamala is a radical left Marxist, rated even worse than crazy Bernie Sanders or Pocahontas herself. She destroyed our economy. She destroyed San Francisco. She was an original creator of defund the police movement, and anybody who wants to defund the police for even 1 week is not worthy of being president of the United States. See, we've learned about her. We didn't know anything about Harris. We didn't know anything about her. We've learned about her. She had that little honeymoon period. I really figured that these guys were right. Wayne, you were right about honeymoon. You said it was going to last 6 weeks, and you were right. Probably, I think, to the day. I'm very impressed with you, Wayne. Kamala vowed to abolish ICE. She pledged to confiscate your guns and endorsed a total ban on handgun ownership. Would anybody like to give up their gun tonight, please? She even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention, all at taxpayer expense. Now think of it. This is where she is. This is her whole life until about a year ago when she realized this was not playing very well to the country. And she did one other thing. She lied about working at McDonald's. To me, that's a big deal. In conclusion, your vote this November, we're going to fire Kamala, and we're going to save America. Going to save America. We will cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to America and back to Nevada. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American. I will end the war in Ukraine. It would have never started if I was president. I will also stop the chaos in the Middle East. October 7th would have never happened. You would have had all those people who would be living happily today. And I will prevent World War III from happening. I will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect that they so dearly deserve. We will strengthen and modernize our military. We will build a missile defense shield over our country. It's going to all be made in the USA. That will include Nevada. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our school and quickly. We will keep men out of women's sports, if that's okay. And I will defend religious liberty. I will restore free speech, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms. After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build up our country, defend our borders, and we are going to protect our citizens like never before. And we will stop illegal immigration once and for all. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be overrun. We will not be conquered. We will be a free and proud nation very soon, once again. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope, and that beautiful American dream is going to be back and stronger than ever. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda with a landslide that is too big to rig. You need to get out and vote. For the past 9 years, we've been fighting against the most sinister and corrupt forces on earth, people like Adam Shifty Schiff. Can you imagine that bum is going to be a senator? Can you imagine? Maybe there's a 1% chance, who knows? He's a bum. He lied like hell. Adam Shifty Schiff. We have senators sitting over here, they can't even believe it. He's a bum, he's a liar, he's a crooked guy, he's a crooked man. With your vote in this election, you can show them once and for all that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country. And 5 days from now, it's the hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help from now until Election Day, we will restore America's promise, and we will take back the nation that we love. We will take it back. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down, and we will never, ever surrender. Together we will fight, 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 and win, win, win. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. And together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much, Nevada. Get out and vote. Get out and vote.
Thank you for tuning into the live stream. Double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up. Subscribe to the channel. We do this every single day. We've been streaming for over 3 hours now. You guys are the best. Of course, this man has done two. Actually, he did three events yesterday because this is a new day. It is currently 3:12 a.m. He had three events yesterday. He's going hard. He doesn't want to hear any issue, no excuse after November 5 or on election day. No excuse. He wants to get into the White House. So he's working, working, and working. And let me know in the chat, have you voted? I voted early on Monday. So let me know if you voted in the chat. Okay, so the Vice President Kamala Harris was in Phoenix. No, no, no. She was in, yeah, she was in Phoenix, Arizona as well. But this is the Nevada's rally right here. Let's listen to the Nevada rally. This is like 24 minutes. So, because I know you guys are, oh no, I don't want to listen to the Vice President. Yeah, it is 24 minutes. Unlike the OG, the OG goes for like 2 hours. But the Vice President keeps it short. 24 minutes. Let's get it.
Oh, it's good to be back. Oh, it's good to be back. Oh, it's good to be back. I have spent a lot of time in Reno over the years, and it is so good to be back in Reno. Are we ready to do this? Are we ready to vote? Are we ready to win? It is so good to be back and with so many incredible leaders. And I want to just start by thanking everyone here for taking time out of your busy lives to be here this afternoon for us to celebrate each other and community. And I thank you, everyone. I want to thank my dear, dear friend, Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. As you know, we were AGs together. I was in California. She was here. We were fighting a good fight, arm in arm, always together. I want to thank Mayor Sheevy, DNC Chair Jamie Harrison, Michael Gordon with La Una Local 169, and Nevada, please send Jackie Rosen back to the United States Senate.
We'll get that.
And to all the tribal, elected, and community leaders with us today, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. So, Reno, tomorrow, well, by the way, happy Halloween. So tomorrow, Friday, November 1st, is the last day to vote early in person. And if you are voting by mail, please do not wait. Sign the envelope and return your ballot today. Your ballot must be returned to a drop box or postmarked by Election Day next Tuesday, November 5th. So please help get the word out and ask people to go to iwillvote.com if they're not sure. Spread the word. And we need you to vote Nevada. You are going to make the difference in the outcome of this election, and I thank you. I thank you. So, okay, we got some work to do. Okay, we have 5 days left in one of the most consequential elections of our lifetime. And we do have work to do. But here's the thing I know about everybody here. We like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is joyful work. And make no mistake, we will win. We will win. We will win. And one of the reasons we will win is because I know who the folks are here. I know who you are. And here's the thing about all of us. We know that when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. You know what to fight for. And we know we have an opportunity in this election to turn the page on a decade of Donald Trump trying to keep us divided and afraid of each other. We're done with that. We're exhausted by it. We're done with that. We're done with it. And Reno, this is the thing. We know that this is not who we are. That's not who we are. And it is time for a new generation of leadership in America. And I am ready to offer that leadership as the next president of the United States. And a lot of folks here know, I am not afraid of tough fights. For decades, as a prosecutor and as top law enforcement officer of the first cousin in Nevada, California, I won fights. I won fights with Catherine against the big banks that ripped off homeowners, against for-profit colleges that scammed veterans and students, against predators who harmed women and children, against the cartels that trafficked in guns and drugs and human beings. And it is my pledge to you that if you give me the chance to fight on your behalf as president, there is nothing in the world that will stand in my way of fighting for you. For the people. And look, we know who Donald Trump is. Because we all know he is not someone who is thinking about how to make your life better. And this is someone who is increasingly unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and he's out for unchecked power. And in less than 90 days, either he or I will be sitting in the Oval Office. And listen, here's what we can imagine, right? We've all seen on TV, you've seen the Oval Office, but here's the thing. We have to get the word out to help people even just visually imagine what that day will be. Because if elected, Donald Trump on day one would walk into that office with an enemies list. When I am elected, I will walk in with a to-do list on behalf of you. And at the top of my list is bringing down your cost of living. That will be my focus every single day as president. I will give a middle-class tax cut to over 100 million Americans, enact the first ever federal ban on corporate price gouging on groceries. I've taken on that issue before, I'll take it on again. I will make housing more affordable by building more homes and taking on corporate landlords who unfairly buy up all these properties and jack up rents. We will fight for working families by raising the minimum wage and eliminating taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers. And if you're caring for an elderly parent, I took care of my mother when she was sick. Listen, this is personal for me, as so many of these issues. If you are taking care of an elderly parent, my plan will cover the cost of home health care for seniors with Medicare. deplete whatever savings you got to qualify for Medicaid. It's just about dignity so that seniors can stay in their homes and you can be able to do all that you need to do, especially if any of you are in that sandwich generation, raising young kids while you're taking care of your parents. It's just about dignity. My plan will lower the cost of childcare, same point. We will also cut taxes for small businesses. Can I see the small business owners who are here? Oh, I love our small businesses. And we will lower health care costs, because here's where I come from. I believe that health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. So this is about values, right? How do you think about what people need to live with dignity, to live where they are able to work and know that it actually means something, that is not just about getting by, but getting ahead. On the other hand, Donald Trump's answer to the financial pressures you face is the same as it was the last time. Another $1 trillion in tax cuts for billionaires and big corporations. And this time he will pay for it with a 20% national sales tax on everything you buy that is imported. Just imagine, on clothes, food, toys, cell phones. A Trump sales tax that economists have measured will cost you, on average, an additional $4,000 a year. And on top of that, Donald Trump still wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. And he has a very powerful friend in Congress, the Speaker of the House, who recently, if you notice, said that there will be a, quote, end to Obamacare. The words he used were no Obamacare, which, if he were to get his way, if Trump wins, means they would throw millions of Americans off of health insurance and take us back, which would take us back to when, you'll remember, insurance companies had the ability to deny people with pre-existing conditions. But Nevada, we are not going back. 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 We're not going back. We're not going back. And we are not going back because ours is a fight for the future. And ours is a fight for freedom. Like the fundamental freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. And we all remember how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court to overturn Roe versus Wade. They did, and now 1 in 3 women in America lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban. Many with no exceptions for rape or incest. You know what? Let me say something about this. We're here because we're fighting for a democracy. Fighting for a democracy. And understand the difference here. Understand the difference here. Moving forward. Moving forward. Understand the difference here. What we are looking at is a difference in this election. Let's move forward and see where we are. Because on the issue, for example, of freedom of choice, that's okay. That's all right. That's all right. That's okay. That's all right. You know what? Democracy can be complicated sometimes. It's okay. We're fighting for the right for people to be heard and not jailed because they speak their mind. We know what's at stake. And on the issue of freedom, listen, Donald Trump's not done. Did anybody hear what he had to say just yesterday? And I'll tell you, it was outrageous. So he said, on the issue of freedom of choice, reproductive freedom, he said that he will do what he wants because, quote, this is his perspective, he will do it whether the women like it or not. Whether the women like it or not. Can you imagine? And this is not the first time he has told us. He does not believe women should have authority or agency over their own bodies. This is the same person who said that women should be punished for their choices. And what we know is we know what we are seeing. This is someone who simply does not respect the freedom of women or the intelligence of women to make decisions about their own lives. And we know that what he has planned includes a national abortion ban, restricting access to birth control, putting IVF treatments at risk, and forcing states to monitor women's pregnancies. You don't have to take my word for it. Google Project 2025. Read the plans for yourselves. And I know we all know that one does not have to abandon their faith or reasonably held beliefs to agree that the government should not be telling her what to do with her body. So, Nevada, to protect your right to make your own health care decisions, vote yes on question 6. And make sure you vote up and down the ballot to truly protect that right. And I will tell you, when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom nationwide, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. Proudly. So, Nevada, I am here asking for your vote. I am asking for your vote. And here is my pledge to you. And I got your back. As President, I pledge to you to seek common ground and common sense solutions to the challenges you face. I am not looking to score political points. I am looking to make progress. And I pledge to listen to experts, to listen to those who will be impacted by the decisions I make, and to listen to people who disagree with me. Because that's what real leaders do. That's what real leaders do. And unlike Donald Trump, I don't believe that the people who disagree with me are the enemy. He wants to put them in jail. I'll give them a seat at the table. That's what leadership looks like. And I pledge to you to always put country above party and self, and to be a president for all Americans. For all Americans. So it all comes down to this. We are all here together. And again, you are taking this time to be here because we love our country. We love our country. And when you love something, you fight for it. You fight for it. And I do believe it is one of the highest forms of patriotism, of our expression of our love for our country, to then fight for the ideals of our country and to fight to realize the promise of America. And I'm going to tell you, I have always believed in our nation's promise because I have lived it. I grew up a child of the civil rights movement. My parents would take me to marches when I was in a stroller. And at those places, people from all walks of life came together to fight for the ideals of freedom and opportunity. You know, growing up, I saw how hard my mother worked to give her daughters the same chance our country gave her. And I was blessed to have family by blood and family by love, who instilled in me the values of community and compassion and faith. I've spent my life fighting for the people who have been hurt and who have been counted out, and people who never stopped, even then, believing that in our country anything is possible. I've lived the promise of America, and I see the promise of America in everyone here. It is in all of us. It is in all of us. It is in all of us. It is in the women who refuse to accept a future without reproductive freedom. It is in the men who support them. It is in the fathers and mothers who work hard every day for their children's future. It is in the Republicans who never voted for a Democrat before, but have put the Constitution of the United States above party. I see the promise of America in all the young leaders who are voting for the first time. And I'll tell you what I love about this generation, Gen Z. I'm going to shout you out. Let me tell you what I love about you all, you leaders, you young leaders, as you are rightly impatient for change. I love that about you. You are determined to live free from gun violence, to take on the climate crisis, to shape the world that you inherit. I love that about you. And for them, I say to everybody else, look, none of this is theoretical. This, for them, is a lived experience. It's not political. It's what they're living. And to the young leaders, then I say, I see you. I believe in you, and I see your power. You are so powerful. And I would just ask, can we give it up for the first-time voters who are in the House? Right. See, I'm telling you, our future is bright. You just have to see it in front of you. The future of our country is bright. And so, to the people of Nevada, look, you are battle-born. And we are ready for the hard work ahead. We have 5 days to get it done. And so, look, nobody can sit on the sidelines. Let's spend the next 5 days so that when we look back on these days, we have no regrets. And let us make sure that we are knocking on doors, that we are texting folks, calling folks, reaching out to family and friends and classmates and neighbors and coworkers. And as we do, I have a request. As we do, please let's be intentional about building community. And let's be intentional about building coalitions. You know, these last many years, it's had a way of, trying to make people point their fingers at each other, trying to divide us, trying to make people feel alone. So let us all, in this moment, be intentional about building back up and reminding folks we have so much more in common than what separates us. So much more. So much more. And so we all know here, your vote is your voice, and your voice is your power. So today, Nevada, I ask you then, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America?
Thank you for tuning into the live stream. Double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up. Subscribe to the channel. You've heard from the Vice President of the United States. Do you believe in freedom? Do you believe in opportunity? Of course. I just don't know what's gonna happen. When it's like, yo, you didn't win the election. I don't know how she's gonna act. Really, I just don't know. How she's gonna act. It may be hard to accept because she thinks she's going to win. I mean, I just hope she just takes it and smile and be joyful like she is right now. Okay, let's see what the polls are saying on CNN.
Tonight, Kamala Harris urging voters in the key swing state of Arizona to end the Trump era.
My opponent is also making his closing argument to America. And you've probably seen a bit of it. It is an argument that is full of hate and division. It is time then to turn the page on Donald Trump. We are done with that.
Meantime, brand new polling from CNN shows Harris and Trump neck and neck in two other battleground states, Georgia and North Carolina. Harry Enten is out front now at the Magic Wall. So, Harry, pivotal, as we know, these states, but just put them in context for us in terms of what they could mean.
Yeah, I got Georgia on my mind, as Ray Charles used to say. Look, as Jeff was talking about in the last segment, the big blue wall runs through the Great Lake battleground states. That's Kamala Harris's best path. You know, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. That would get Kamala Harris to 270 electoral votes. But let's just say there's some leakage in that great big blue wall. Let's just say that Kamala Harris loses in Michigan. Well, then she drops below 270 electoral votes. But you know what? Get her right back over it. Let's just say we give her the state of North Carolina. She gets up to 271 electoral votes. So the bottom line is these Southeast states can very much sort of prove as a backup path potentially for Kamala Harris. Let's just say we're going to put Michigan back in a blue, but we give Pennsylvania away to Donald Trump. Now Kamala Harris is again south of 270 electoral votes. Well, what can sub in? Well, why don't we give her the state of Georgia, right? It went blue last time. That gets Kamala Harris well above 270 electoral votes. The bottom line is this. Look, Kamala Harris's best path to 270 electoral votes still runs through that great big blue wall up here in the Great Lakes states. But the Southeast provides this backup to her. One little last nugget I'll sort of point out to you. You know, we're talking about the importance of Georgia and North Carolina. When was the last time a Republican won without Georgia? You got to go all the way back to 1980. Of course, Jimmy Carter was the Democratic nominee. Not a big surprise. He carried his home state. How about North Carolina? You have to go all the way back to 1956. So the idea that Donald Trump can win without carrying the state of North Carolina, history would suggest that ain't going to happen.
All right. So when we look at that, too, look, there's been a lot made about different voting blocks in this country. I know you specifically looked at black voters when it comes to Kamala Harris in both of those states. Why do you say there are warning signs?
Why are there warning signs? Well, I'll tell you why they're warning signs. Let's take a look here. This is Democrat versus Donald Trump. Among African-American voters in Georgia and North Carolina average, you go back to November of 2020. Look at that. Joe Biden carried him by 80 points. Right now, Kamala Harris on average in our CNN polls has a lead of just 65 points. If Donald Trump ends up winning in Georgia and North Carolina, it could be because Kamala Harris struggled with black voters in the Southeast, just as we've seen throughout the national polling as well, Erica.
All right. So look at all this, though. Donald Trump campaigning in New Mexico. We talked about this a little bit at the top of the show. Hasn't got red since 2004 for George W. Bush. Does it make sense for Donald Trump to be there at this stage in the race?
I don't really think so. Well, first off, why don't we just point out a few obvious things, right? Let's talk about New Mexico and the results that we've had there recently. Look, the 2020 result, Joe Biden won by 11 points. The 2024 forecast has Kamala Harris winning by 7 points. So it's not a particularly close race. And more than that, Erica, get this. Even if we flip New Mexico over to red, look, we went from 283 to Kamala Harris getting 278. There are very few electoral votes in New Mexico. I know Donald Trump does some interesting things, but this is certainly one of the odder ones as far as I'm concerned.
All right, Harry, thanks.
Thank you.
Out front now, Democratic Senator Cory Booker. He is supporting Kamala Harris for president. Senator, nice to have you with us this evening. So looking at some of this new CNN polling out today for Georgia and North Carolina, Donald Trump has an edge among likely voters when it comes to bringing the kind of change the country needs, 46% versus 41% for the vice president, and also holds a slim lead within the margin of error on which candidate shares their vision for the country. We're looking at 44% versus 41 or 42 for the vice president. She talks a lot about looking forward and about her vision for the future. That poll, though, was just done within the last week. Does it concern you at all about how it is perhaps not registering? And are you confident she could turn that around in the next few days?
I mean, gosh, I'm almost dizzy from the poller coaster every day, seeing different polls. It's just too much. And you and I both know statistically they go from a set of modeling where who they think is going to turn out. There's nothing usual about this election as I crisscross the country. I am seeing what is the makings of a very different kind of turnout model where there's going to be a lot more participation in a lot of different groups than we normally expect.
Put that in terms of turnout and what you expect to see on Tuesday when it comes to numbers for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, look, we know she's going to win the popular vote. I think that's almost been conceded by the other side. Most Americans are going to vote for her. But strategically, there's about 7 states that she's really working on the ground to get the vote out. And I visited pretty much all of them and have seen just things that I really haven't seen since President Obama ran in his first time. I get people coming up to me that break down in tears just with their sense of joy or their sense of fear about what's at stake. And so I think people understand what's at stake, and that's actually moving turnout. And I tell you what, these last few days, I've heard from a lot of leaders in the Latino community who weren't as engaged, who are now downright ticked off. And I said, you know, as Popeye says, I've had all I can stand and I can't stand no more.
Well, speaking of Latino voters, what we saw this week, there's been so much made, of course, about support among not just Latino voters, but also among Black voters. This week, actually just today, former President Obama weighing in. So he spoke on Reverend Al Sharpton's radio show just a short time ago. I want to play a little bit of what he had to say.
You have in Donald Trump somebody who consistently has shown disregard to people who are not like him. I don't have to tell you, this is somebody who has made a career out of demeaning and talking about and treating people of color in ways that indicate he does not think they necessarily are full members of the American community.
You know, the vice president said earlier this week on the Breakfast Club, she doesn't see any problem when it comes to support among Black men. I know you're not a fan of polling, but I'm going to throw a little bit more data at you because we do have it out new today. In averaging what we see in Georgia and North Carolina in this new CNN poll, support for Black voters, likely voters, for Kamala Harris is averaging about 65 percentage points, so above Donald Trump. But in 2020, for Joe Biden, that number was 80 percentage points. Does any of that concern you about a shift?
Well, again, you and I both know polls and numbers. It really doesn't talk about what the denominator is. How big is that 65%? When the turnout goes up, you're talking a lot more people voting. And these last days, something has really shifted. I think that he really touched a longstanding ache and hurt that our communities have for being talked down to, demeaned, and degraded. It was almost like a reminder. Remember who this guy was? You remember the kind of things he's said? Going back to the Central Park Five, going back to birtherism, which he led against Barack Obama. Do you really trust this guy to have your back when he has done so many things repeatedly, all the way up until this Madison Square Garden, consistently, that has kicked you in the gut, looked down upon you, and done things that seem so overtly racist? So I really trust that the most loyal voting base the Democratic Party has ever had is in the Black community. But right now, I think he's really given people cause to pause and to feel more of a sense of urgency to defend our communities from people who look down at us with such bigoted ways.
You released a video with Senator John Tester, who may be the most vulnerable Democrat at this point seeking re-election. I'm going to play a little bit of that.
This guy will fight you. Oh.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say maybe stuntman is not the best day job. But in all seriousness, when you look at that state, right?
Yeah.
And when we look at the state of affairs, when it comes to the Senate and holding on to control, how concerned are you about that uphill climb right now for Democrats?
I will always bet on Tester. The reality is his state is about the size, population-wise, of the county I grew up here in New Jersey, one of our 21 counties. And people know John Tester. Look, my chief of staff is in Montana right now on the ground. They're closing the numbers on their official polling that you see out there. But more than that, they're bumping into so many Republicans that just know him, trust him, and believe in him. And what Republicans, I think, have they made a mistake. They've been from Wisconsin, the person they have running against Tammy Baldwin, to Montana. What they have is they bring these multi-millionaires who are better known in other states that kind of plop in and try to run as these outsiders. John Tester is real salt of the earth. And the great thing about his reputation in the Senate is indeed he will. When it comes to defending Montana, he doesn't care if he's fighting a Democrat or Republican. He fights for Montana. So if anybody can win in that state, because of their authentically independent spirit, it's John Tester.
I am going to ask you one quick question. You said he's catching up in the polling, I believe you said, in the state. Does that mean that polling's okay?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I mean, he has told me he doesn't give a damn. And he too has run it against an opponent that has said the most vile things about Native Americans and others. And people are responding to that. They want somebody that loves all of Montana, not just certain parts.
Senator Cory Booker, good to have you with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into the live stream. All right, so we've heard from CNN concerning the polls. Double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up. And if you get any value from this stream that we've been doing for almost 4 hours, subscribe to the channel. Consider subscribing to the channel. All right, let's go to Fox. And this is going to be or maybe, I don't know for sure. Okay, so this is Piers Morgan talking about how Trump is a genius with the garbage truck move and with the reflective jacket.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dana Perino, along with Judge Jeanine Pirro, Piers Morgan, Jesse Waters, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five.
I can tell you who the real garbage is, but we won't say that. How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
One man's trash is another man's treasure. Donald Trump turning Joe Biden's garbage insult towards his voters into campaign viral video gold. The former president rolling up to a rally in a big, beautiful MAGA garbage truck wearing a garbage collector's orange vest. And still wearing that bright orange vest when he stepped out on the stage in Green Bay to defend his supporters, saying that they're not trash.
250 million Americans are not garbage. I said, well, should I leave my suit on and put it over the vest? But that doesn't look very good, right? That doesn't look good. So I said, all right, look, let me take it off. And then I actually said, I climbed into the truck, but so I said, how the hell do you get into this truck? It's way up high. It's a big one. This was a beauty. So I had the adrenaline going, and I made it. Then I gave a little news conference from the front of they asked their wise guy questions and everything.
Kamala cannot be happy with Biden's garbage firestorm. Yesterday, Vice President Harris said that she's spoken with the president, and Donald Trump was having some fun earlier, imagining what that conversation was like.
What the hell are you doing, Joe? Please, Joe. I'm trying, Joe. I'm at a big disadvantage. They say I'm not smart, no, and then you go and you make it more difficult for me, Joe. What are you doing, Joe? Well, that's the way I feel, because that is the way it feels.
Jeanine, I called you Jeanine. I used to call you the judge, but Jeanine, if a campaign is a card game, then Trump was given this card and he played it very well.
He played it so well. He is the ultimate showman. He is the happy warrior. He took something that was garbage and turned it into gold. And when he put on that garbage vest and he got in that truck, I remember last night looking at it and saying, oh my gosh, Who would think of that? Only he would think of that. Only he would do that and actually get up in the garbage truck and look like he's having fun, look like he's comfortable, just like he was in McDonald's. But then the left, instead of, I don't expect them to see the humor in it, but, you know, he's not going to let an opportunity pass. And then when the left said, I think it was Norah O'Donnell, she said, Trump pulled a campaign stunt. Proof his supporters are giving no grace to a gaffe by President Biden. Grace? A gaffe? I mean, Biden has been trashing Trump supporters since the beginning. We've been called everything from MAGA extremists to fascists to Nazis to deplorable. We clean to God and our guns. I mean, this is something that they've been doing for a long time. And whatever Biden has said about us in the past is indicative of his state of mind. And so when The View says what was it? It was a tongue slip. No, Biden thinks Trump is Hitler. And we are Hitlerians because we support Trump. So, I mean, Kamala could never do this. She could never roll with it. We knew it from the Al Smith dinner. We see it every day. And, you know, I think the timing couldn't be better.
Yeah. Well, nobody puts together a media montage like the five producers. Let's play this for you. This is a freak out in the media.
Riding around in a garbage truck does anything for Donald Trump, or wearing an orange vest on stage that is only supplanted by the orange on his face.
Then pulled this campaign stunt, proof that he and his supporters are giving no grace to a gaffe by President Biden.
They are trying to milk this for every single drop that they can.
I think it's really sad that he's appealing to the working man, like the blue-collar worker.
Very same news media that ignored all the times Donald Trump has called American citizens and American voters scum and garbage.
The other thing, I thought you might get a kick out of this as a former magazine editor. Lawrence O'Donnell was upset that you didn't understand grammar to know what a singular possessive was.
Yes, I will get to that in a second. I'm not going to spend any time on apostrophes. You know what's amazing? You know, I'm going to imitate CNN's Daniel Dale. Even I don't know if he's done this yet, but it really wasn't a garbage vest. That's a high visibility safety vest he was working. I think we need to point that out. I don't think you can vote for someone who would pass a high visibility safety vest off as a garbage bag. Yeah. You know, Joe calls Trump supporters trash, and Trump shows up in a garbage truck. Thank God Joe didn't call them a-holes, or Trump would show up dressed like Jesse.
Oh, wow.
I saw that coming.
All right, so O'Donnell says we should show grace. Biden's garbage comment was misconstrued based on the apostrophe. But that didn't stop. The misconstruing didn't stop Joe from pumping out the most divisive hoax in history, the Fine People hoax, right? Mm-hmm. Which initiated, people don't remember this, that initiated Trump is Hitler and his supporters are Nazis. That all came from that's the tentpole hoax that went on for 4 years. It's the reason why Joe ran. So I don't have time to copy edit the commander in corpse. He nor the press took one moment or any grace to check what Trump had said in Charlottesville, or they didn't take any grace about any of these rumors, from the Russian hoax to drinking bleach, whatever. We know they treat us terrible. The problem we have, whether it's being called deplorables or irredeemable or garbage, it's coming from the top. This isn't from the comment section of a YouTube clip of Fox and Friends, right? This is the Democrat leaders calling this out. And what it does is it makes it harder and harder for friends and neighbors and coworkers to return to normal life after an election. We used to live on this really cheesy notion, which sounds stupid, love thy neighbor, but it's now love thy neighbor unless they vote for Trump. And you don't love thy neighbor when it's good. It matters when it's bad. It's just like the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. It's not for hellos or goodbyes. It's for bad words and bad hombres. And what they're telling you is that in these situations, the bedrock of society, which is love thy neighbor, it's a societal contract that we all have, so that when something bad happens, you go back to life. If your team loses, you know, you're mad, but, you know, then you get back on and you do your normal thing. What they're saying is that it is actually immoral for you to have any kind of connection with somebody with political differences, because to them, the political is always personal.
That was well said.
Thank
there
you,
was
Dana.
also a personal attack in there against you, Jesse, so I will give you a chance.
Well, good thing Biden didn't call supporters a midget because
you used the, oh my God, you used the wrong word.
You're not allowed to say that?
You can't say the M word.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
People?
Little people.
Little people, I'm sorry.
I accept your apology.
So, but Trump is a meme, and now half my staff is wearing garbage vests.
Yes.
Did you guys see?
Yes, I saw it
Half the
today.
staff's in garbage vests.
They're actually safety vests.
And you guys remember when he got shot, everybody was wearing the ear bandage? Or when the mugshot came out, they were wearing the T-shirts, or they're eating the dogs. He has a way of just generating this throughout the country, which is free. He doesn't even have to pay for it.
Yeah, it's earned.
And I don't know, maybe Pierce could help me remember this. When was the last time Kamala Harris won the news cycle?
Yeah.
Maybe a month and a half. You're thinking 60 Minutes, Bret Baier, the hurricane.
The debate, maybe.
Maybe the debate. I mean, but you've just had just a whole trend of bad news cycles. And what Trump does, he'll turn a 24-hour good news cycle into a 48-hour good news cycle. And the media helps because the media will attack something pretty smart and then make themselves look stupid. And then he'll divide the other side of the media because the half of the media is going, he's an idiot, he looks stupid in an apron. And the other side of the media is giving him credit for going to McDonald's. Or I don't know, another Republican that could pack the garden. Or, this is pretty smart that he did this in less than 24 hours. He's got a truck on standby. So he's able to kind of divide the media, which is smart because they work really well when they're speaking from the same script. Now, the venues that he's putting himself in, a truck, a drive-through window, at a football game, these make him likable. This is not the fascist that everybody says he is. He's fun. He's not a fascist. And he looks young. He looks fun and young. And now he's a great storyteller. Who tells stories like the way he tells these stories? And it's almost humble. He's having a hard time getting up the stairs. Was Hitler making self-deprecating jokes? No. He's talking about how this suit, the vest was slimming on him. I mean, that's hilarious. And it's relatable. And
I
that's
would
the
love
kind
to
of thing.
see Hitler do a routine of
Pull the tape.
Yes.
All right, Piers Morgan, great to have you here.
so nice to be back.
Welcome here. What do you think about the garbage
Well, first of
insult
all,
and the stunt?
Great to be back in New York as a Dodgers fan. So let's just get that on the record.
When did that happen?
Shots fired.
Only team I've ever watched is the Dodgers. So
I thought you were a cricket guy.
I am. But, we always say that cricket is baseball for people with brains. And I'm joking. But it's good to be back. I was checking last time I was here, I think it was like midsummer, what's happened since then. Because at the time, we were all thinking, this could be quite a boring presidential race. We were all bemoaning how dull it was going to be. And I just checked, 2 assassination attempts. The Democrat nominee forced out because he's senile, but remains president of the United States. Trump has served at McDonald's and driven a garbage truck. Biden's biting babies. Kamala's chucking him under a bus when she's not talking word salad. This is just in 3 months. This has become an insane presidential contest. And I want to salute you, because we thought back in Britain, the last 5 years, we've had about 18 prime ministers. We thought we were nuts. This is off the charts nuts. So congratulations to the United States. But fascinating to watch. And I think you've all touched on it. But, I remember doing Celebrity Apprentice with Trump back in 2008, the first series of that, which I won before you asked what happened.
Nice.
And I remember thinking at the time, the guy's a marketing genius.
Yes.
He's a marketing genius. And this strategy now is playing absolutely to his best instincts, which is, how do I make myself look relatable to regular people when Kamala Harris inexplicably is doing the Hillary Clinton playbook of elitism, of pop stars, of Hollywood, of going from joy and love, and we're all going to be happy families, to you're all Hitler and garbage and everything else. And the stark contrast of regular Dom doing his regular stuff, even though he is an actual billionaire, is incredibly effective. And I think, we'll see, but I think it's going to win him back the presidency. If it happens, the greatest comeback in political history.
And timing is...
Thank you for tuning in to the live show. God bless you. Instead of looking for perfection, seek for consistency. You know what time it is. We have come to the end of the live show. You guys are the best. We have been streaming for almost 4 hours. Well, if you haven't voted, make sure you vote. Or if you want to vote on election day, that's great too. All right. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on your dreams. Never give up on God. Believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams. Believe in God. Okay? It is your boy, Genesis, and I am signing out. I love you guys. Don't forget to smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a long day, but well, today, because it's already 4:02. But yes, I love you guys. See you soon. God bless you.